so bad, my self-esteem damn bad. Gotta keep on chugging. Ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke been heavy. Got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that. It's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up. I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities that never come unless you paying attention. So no, I can't miss that. Moving. MVP, I got the record. I might have to prove something. Big jumper worthy. They gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming. Had to work something cause I had nothing in my pocket. Yeah, I did all that. Big plans. Partners trying to make profits. Yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking even no ends. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice. I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my big dog walking big top, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship. I'ma check it like let 'em in. Y'all better not let 'em in. They gon' rotate this so I get the pedaling. Started a chain. The cycle is heaven sent. This is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit. I'm a big bull in this element, yeah. Say you gon' pull up then settle it, yeah. I've been married to this hustle. This is my ring. Watch out, step in it, yeah. And I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here. Watch out, touchdown. Pulling players out the clutch. Everybody getting crushed. The clutch down is for us now. Have to work something cause I had nothing in my pocket. Yeah, I did all that. Big plans. Partners trying to make profits. Yeah, I did all that. Work, sweat, and tears breaking even no ends. Yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen. Putting hours in my practice. I did all that. Yeah, I can't take no loss. Yeah, I don't even know what it
Right out the box, you get a good jump when you're running along the base paths. The catcher flips over his face mask, eager to place tags. Flash the leather making a great stab. You can follow the footsteps or take it upon yourself to make a path. But what's it all for? Love of the game or acknowledgement? Every play you make, the scouts gaze in astonishment. All this could lead to a Division I scholarship. It all starts here. The premier place for the uncommitted to showcase their skill set. Pull hitter or an opposite field threat, no matter how difficult the drills get, it's still real heart, real scars, real sweat. The piercing sound of the ping on the metal bat. Down in the count, but you battle back. You either wait for your pitch or swing for the fences. In this game, the possibilities are endless. You stuck to the routine. To prove your talent is indeed supreme. This is the start of fulfilling a lifelong dream. The boots are on the ground, and it's time to be seen. This is the Prep Baseball Report. Future Games.
And welcome to the 2023 Prep Baseball Report, Future Games from here at Lakepoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney, I'm now joined by Brandon Hall, Mid-Atlantic Scouting Director. Brandon, man, appreciate you coming on a little bit to talk about these rosters as we got Carolina and California going at it in day one.
Yeah, gorgeous day here. I'd say let's play two, but it's still 100 degrees. That second game would be tonight.
So you've got a collection of kids from North Carolina, South Carolina. Obviously, you've got your guys out there in the field. They come to you. You guys cross-check everything to give us this roster that we're seeing today. Let's go through this Carolina roster a little bit. Tell me some of the guys that we really need to know going into this matchup.
Yeah, it's really an exciting blend of kind of some really athletic guys that have high prospect potential later on versus some guys who are already starting to round out. The first name that jumps off the list was a guy that really won workout day yesterday with Will Craddock. A big body, easy mover, professional mover, hit a ball 390 feet, 99.9 exit velocity yesterday, was carrying 83 like it was his job across the infield, and 89 is probably in there. He was a guy that really jumped off the sheet at us. You move down the list a little bit. Caden Davidson is a third baseman, first baseman from North Carolina, won a state championship, has a brother that was a first rounder, so the bloodlines are there. Not going to freak out in an event like this. And the hit tool's got a chance to really be loud as we get through the week. Peter Mershon is a name that people really understand and know in the Carolinas because he's got lineage with a family. But he ran a 6.58 yesterday, so he's able to step outside of that group and say, hey, I'm here on my own, and look at the things I can do.
You told me before we came on, you guys made a cognizant approach here that you were going to build this roster of 2025s. Obviously, some changes here in the recruiting aspect of things. Coaches have not been able to get a hold of these kids. They will be able to after August 1st, but you guys built a roster of these kids that are going to be the ones showcased in this event for these college coaches.
Yeah, with the new rules, college coaches really can't contact anybody that's prior to their junior year and not August 1 going into the junior year. So the 25s are the first class to go through that. And in North Carolina, South Carolina, we have a lot of guys off the board already. But those guys that weren't, we wanted to be able to showcase those guys, knowing the 2026 class is going to have its time next year, because really nobody should be off the board between now and then, as they can't have contact.
Your guys' roster also built a little bit differently than a lot of the ones here. Obviously, you've got Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia, the states themselves. You guys are a two-state combination. Take me inside that process of how a Carolina roster is built.
Yeah, so we've got two guys that run those two states, with Matt Payne running North Carolina, extensive background as a Division I coach and junior college coach. Sammy Esposito won 2 national titles at South Carolina, was a recruiting coordinator at Wichita State and Houston as well. Put a lot of trust in those guys, and they're able to kind of line up. Here's our best guys at these different positions, and then I can go through and kind of oversee and cross-check, but they communicate so well that really that list is done by the time it gets to me. And we're just trying to make sure there's some balance, but we're also trying to make sure that we're getting the best athletes here for the college coaches, because that's what drives the event. When you're walking through here and you see 400, 450, really good friends of mine, because I was in the industry for 17 years, but they're showing up because there's talent on the field, not because PBR just throws an event. So we want that talent here.
So let's go through this Carolina roster real quick. You guys have Xavier McCurry. He's going to be leading off you. Will Craddock hitting second. Caden Davis third. Zach Bender fourth. Connor Robertson fifth, followed by Mac McKnight, Peter Mershon, Wilmer Martinez, Justin Sheffield, Andrew Painter, Ian Williams, Brady Gold, Stowe Rogers, and Aiden Wall. Landon Fowler going to get you on the mound to start things off. Tell me what we're going to see out of that arm.
It's an interesting build. It's a big body, broad shoulders. The arm's clean. It looks like it's really kind of a lower slot. It's not going to be a low three-quarter, but the slot that looks like the ball's coming out of, he's a little bit lower, and I think the ball tends to jump and ride on hitters. So we may see 87, 88. We may see a couple 90s, but expect that fastball to play up versus the velocity, and allows that slider to extend to become an out pitch for him.
I can look at your roster and see a lot of kids on here who have rankings within the state, rankings within the nation. What about those kids that go into this event unranked? Do they kind of feel like unrefined gems for you guys? How do you kind of, you obviously have to take some pride in a kid comes here, he's maybe a little bit of an unknown, and then he leaves the Future Games, and you guys have helped make a name for him.
Well, and there's a couple ways we're building a roster. So we run Team Carolina events throughout the summer, and the last event we ran was actually a scout day in South Carolina, and Aiden Vorlick, who's going to throw the third inning for us, popped up. We had not seen him. We had heard the name. But if we don't see him, we can't put anything on him, and he was really good. And so we had a spot open. We put him in there. So our rankings are ever evolving, especially with guys at this age, because there's constant development. And, we're working as hard as we can to see as many high school games and other events outside of just our events that we run, whether it's PBR tournaments and things like that. But I know within North Carolina, we saw 350 high school games. So those rankings, those evaluations, they're ever evolving based on the information we get.
I know the catchers in this environment have a really interesting job, because they've obviously, if you're a pitcher here, you're looking behind home plate and you're going to have those dozens and dozens of scouts back there. Everything's amplified for them. The role of the catcher, he's got to make that guy look good. He's got to be able to help control him. How do you guys? What do you look for in a catcher at a Future Games event that's maybe a little bit different than a normal catcher?
Well, so we're looking for outgoing guys. We're looking for guys that are going to communicate well, and that their ego's not going to get in the way. This is the way I catch. This is the way that I'm going to set up, because we're going to ask them, hey, you need to communicate with your arm. If he's not a high level command guy, you may have to sit in the middle of the plate, because if we're sitting in the middle of the plate and we're just missing, that's a good strike, and that's a good strike. But if we're sitting on the black and we throw that pitch, it's a ball. and balls don't make this event go. It drags and it can get slow. So really the catching can really help the pitchers shine and showcase. And I think from a college coaching standpoint and the way they're evaluating guys, most guys get that. And so when we see pitching staffs at this event go out and pitcher after pitcher after pitch, strike, at some point the coaches are going, okay, who's catching? And they're putting a premium on, yes, he's athletic, yes, he can throw, yes, the bat plays, but can he handle a pitching staff? And I think in this event, over 4 days, those guys get a chance to showcase that.
We're going to be joined soon by Sean Duncan, PBR president, but you're a guy who's been around PBR for a while. I'm interested in how you've seen this event grow and become something where, it's an event that these coaches circle on the calendar each year.
Yeah, so my first year we were still in Indianapolis with the event, and it was a Midwest event. And as we drew more East Coast guys there, more East Coast coaches came. Now that we're at Lakepoint, every coach in the country knows where Lakepoint is. It's easy to get into Atlanta, in and out of the airport. It's allowed for those players to show. And regardless of what we're doing, when California is bringing the talent they have on their roster this year, California coaches are coming. Oregon coaches are coming. Because I get to sit and watch these guys for 4 days. That's the biggest thing about this event is I get a chance to put some numbers on a guy at the workout. But then how does he play? How does he handle not being the best player on the team? How does he handle getting to know and communicate with new players? So these dynamics that coaches are looking for outside of the tool set can really be displayed here because the players are put in an environment that's good but different. How do they react? What kind of teammate are they?
As somebody who's been in the coaching seat, how do you kind of weigh what happens in the showcase as opposed to what happens in the game? Do you weigh one more so than the other?
So it's a blend. We're looking for tools. We're looking for guys that post tools. That does he have arm strength? The pop time, does the ball jump off the bat? But in gameplay, we get a chance to see do those tools actually acclimate. We all know and probably have seen a guy that's a really good runner that can't go first to second at the same speed he's running a 60. So how does that play? I can throw a pop time in a workout, but I lose a half second in the game. The guy that's, the 3 o'clock hitter, we've all heard of that guy. How does it play later? This event, in all honesty, is not fair to hitters because they're going to get one look at a really good arm. And then it's going to sit a little bit and then hit again against a different arm and be really good. So it's not about how many hits they get. It's the quality of at bat. Are they really competing, or do they have a plan? Are they unleashing on their plan? If they're sitting on fastball and they get a fastball in the zone, are they turning it loose? I don't think coaches are looking for, okay, you got 4 hits, check, we're going to offer him. It's, did he have an approach, and did he allow his tool set to play in the games?
Have you felt a different buzz about it this year because of the first time that these kids have dealt with the recruiting restrictions? Does it feel a little bit different for you?
Yes, because there was tentativeness on our end on what we were going to get. Where are the coaches at, especially with the transfer portal? Where are the coaches at in the recruiting process? Are they spending time on the 25s yet? Are they still on the 24s? Are they willing to turn that page? And so, yesterday the turnout was really good, and then today it almost feel like it doubled. So we're continuing to grow this event, and the event continues to kind of explode.
Well, Brandon, listen, I really appreciate you stopping by to tell us a little bit about this Carolina roster. We're going to be back real soon, get into this game as we've got the Carolina team taking on California here at the 2023 PBR Future Games. We're back here at the 2023 PBR Future Games in Emerson, Georgia. Lakepoint Sports is the venue here. Corey McCartney going to be joined soon by Sean Duncan, PBR president. Got a great matchup for you today. Carolina taking on its team from California. Just heard Brandon Hall, the Mid-Atlantic scouting director, breaking down that Carolina roster. Let's go up to this California lineup. They really bring some interesting talent to this. We'll start off with Ezekiel Lara, followed by Justin Lopez, Brock Kettleson, Dizel Hernandez, Gavin Flores, Gary Moore, C.J. Weinstein, Christopher Romo, Shane Miranda, Gino Capolazzo, Rowan Brown, and Mark Emmerman. Some interesting players in this California roster. Grayson Bowles, first baseman, right-handed pitcher, going to be starting things off for California in this game. He was at Future Games last year, pitched 3 up, 3 down innings in relief, had 3 hits as well in 3 games, just absolutely showing the athleticism. Gets it up into the upper 80s, low 90s in the fastball, got that wipeout slider, very good changeup. The PBR California guys tell me he already has offers from ACC and SEC schools, and then Brock Kettleson from Valley Christian San Jose, 2025, lefty hitter and lefty arm. High-level hit tool, they say, all-field kind of hitter, above-average runner, plus arm, The PBR scouts told me that they remind him of a guy that was recruited at University of San Francisco years ago, and Scott Cousins, who ended up being a third-round pick for the Marlins, was WCC Player of the Year as a junior. And then C.J. Weinstein, second baseman from Huntington Beach, a 2026 in this event, the #1 player in the state at that position. He's number 7 overall, actually the #1 second baseman in the country in that class, number 44 overall. So he's going to be an exciting arm. And you're seeing Grayson Bowles right here. You're going to see this arm in action. I mentioned Sean Duncan, the president of PBR. He's actually made his way into the broadcast booth here, going to join me for this one. Sean, man, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Corey.
So we do this every year. This is your party. You are the maestro here of this whole thing. This year, a little bit different. You've got the recruiting restrictions that were placed on coaches. This is the last event before things open back up for this 2025 class. What has this Future Games been like for you so far?
It's for us operationally the same, right? For the college coaches, a little bit different. This is, I think, starting tomorrow or another day, they'll be able to contact the players. So I believe there will be a larger talent pool of players. It's always been mega talented, right? But it's, less guys are committed at this age than previous years. Before, like, Corey, you have a son, he's committed to University of Georgia, wherever he's committed, he commits a week before the event, and then we take him off the roster. So we don't have a lot of those issues this year. So I think the talents could be really good. I think this is kind of like the last hurrah for a lot of the recruiting stuff for them. The whole landscape of recruiting has changed just so significantly with the transfer portal, all that. So, but I'm really excited. We're off to a good start. And really the only thing that it's not going to be good, I mean, we can't control is the weather. So if it doesn't rain, there's no lightning, then it'll be a really good event.
I've talked to you about this before, just the growth of this event. You guys started in 2011 at Benedictine College. Things have expanded quite a bit. Could you, I'm not trying to make you go all the way back there and think about what you potentially thought this was going to be. Could you have ever thought it was going to be what we're seeing here today?
Oh no! I mean, you probably know it's impossible to see the forest from the trees, right? That event was a nut. I mean, we had 4 states at a smaller school. It poured out. Like, they didn't want us to pull the tarp. We pulled the tarp. College coaches actually helped pull the tarp. And I was reminiscing with a few of them. At the event. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, things are getting started here. This is Xavier McCurry for Carolina leading things off. And again, you've got Grayson Bowles on the mound. 89.2 in that first offering there. So when you consider all those coaches back there and you're that pitcher and you're getting ready to ratchet things up, I think Sean, you always look for those first few pitches to see how well this kid's going to control this environment, correct?
Yeah. I mean, putting myself in their shoes, it's got to be – nerve-wracking, and that's part of baseball or any competitive thing is working through the tightness, the jitters or whatever. But landing a first pitch strike he's 0-2 right here. And
that one gets away from here. Xavier McCurry, by the way, the number 8 shortstop in the state of North Carolina. In 2025. He's number 43 overall. I talked to Brandon Hall before we got things started here that every one of these Carolina kids is a 2025, so they were cognizant of the new recruiting world here and wanted to put these kids on display, and Xavier fouls that one off of his foot there, and that had to not feel very good.
Well, Bowles just hit the 90 gong on the previous pitch, so he's feeling loose.
We got to talk to our Austin Irons, our producer. We really should get a gong here inside the headset.
You hit 90. You hit the gong.
We got to make that happen. All right, here comes the 1-2 from Bowles. Swing and a miss. He's got a strikeout, so a nice start there for this big arm from California.
That's a really clean arm. It's nice and compact, and it's an athletic mover down the mound. He's a good-looking prospect, 6'4", 200.
Well, now he's going to face Will Craddock, and joined us pregame. Brandon Hall said that Craddock was one of the big winners for them from workout day yesterday, so he anticipates this could be a real breakout weekend for this kid.
Yeah, he's a good-looking athlete, man. 6'4", 190, stands in there right, good rhythm.
shortstop from TL Hanna in South Carolina. He's one of the unranked players in the state right now coming into this. And Brandon, I mentioned a little bit of pride there when you take a kid who's maybe under the radar and they come into this environment and have an opportunity to build up that resume.
That's my favorite part of this event is kids that come in that are not that famous, and I put, famous in air quotes, but like not heavily recruited, and they leave here like with a boatload of offers. And that, I could tell you stories upon stories of guys that are in the big leagues now that no one ever heard of. That
one gets away from him on the drop third, so we're going to have a base runner here to start things off against Bowles. But he's got 2 strikeouts so far.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. It's a little too tough to handle. So let's see if he could rack up 4 strikeouts. And Reed Detmers was one of those guys. Tiny school from Illinois, no one heard of. Came into the future games and
he's done all right for himself.
Yeah.
This is Caden Davis, the first baseman. He's going to be playing the first 5 innings at first base for Carolinas. Caden's the #1 player in the state at the position, number 17 overall. This is one of the guys that has that national ranking for Carolina. He's number 9 in position across the country, number 248 overall in the class of 2025, coming from T.C. Roberson in North Carolina. Brother, by the way, a first-round pick by the Braves in 2014.
Oh, I didn't realize that was his brother. He could really hit.
That's right. This is the nuggets that you come to this broadcast for.
Yeah.
Apparently he's messing with switch hitting. I guess he's taking it to BP, but really hasn't really done it in game. We got a stolen base there.
He did not look over there, and he got a great jump.
Yeah, so Craddock, as Brandon Hall mentioned, this could be a big weekend for him. He's showing off another one of the tools right there as he takes second base. I like Bowles' cleats. Those are pretty. Well, you're not allowed to wear cleats at Lakepoint Sports. Those are turf shoes. We'll be clear. Those are turf shoes, and they're very nice color. Bounces that one to short, makes the play. Runner gets back in time. So 2 down.
It's a good grab right there.
All right, so 2 down, and we'll turn things over to Zach Bender. Zach will be playing center field later in the game. Carolinas, by the way, is batting 14 guys today. So this is, again, Zach Bender. Bender out of Pro 5 Academy. We had them here for the National Academies Association tournament a couple months ago. Number 7 in the state of North Carolina among outfielders, number 52 overall. '89, the readout there for Bowles on strike 1. Here comes the 0-1.
Good pitch.
Slinks that in there. Man, what a great pitch. He's got a great feel for the zone.
You could tell he's really composed on the mound. He's does a nice job of controlling his delivery.
It's interesting, too, because he's the big swing and a miss there. He's the #1 first baseman in the country out of St. Augustine, and showing off the arm here. Maybe you see two-way potential in this kid? I mean, when you talk about spinning it like he's spinning it right now?
Hey, I don't know how he swings it, but I do think there is definitely a future on the mound. So if he's a highly ranked position player, then certainly I think there's potential. I mean, a lot of people are two-way players. It's hard to do it at the college and obviously pro level, but
this is going to be Landon Fowler is going to start things off on the mound here for Carolina out of Powdersville, South Carolina. He's the #8 right-handed pitcher in the state, 26 overall. Scouts say he's got a chance to be a really big arm, a good ride from a slightly lower slot, gets that swing and miss. Has put in some big work earlier this summer at Lakepoint Sports to get on the radar. So exciting chance here for Landon Fowler to see what he can do against this California lineup. Excuse me. He's going to be facing Ezekiel Lara, Justin Lopez, and Brock Kettleson here to start things off.
Corey, I got to give you I got to give you some props here. The production from last year to this year this is a big time broadcast.
Yeah, we've amped things up. We're no longer slumming it in the scout tower, trying to make some room there. I know that wasn't the happiest of sights for all these college coaches for us to go in there and take up a large portion of the scout tower. So now they get to enjoy the air conditioning. We get to sit here in our new studio and broadcast like grown-ups.
No, the graphics, you got everything working here.
Yeah, Austin's killing it on the production side today. So you may not see Austin on camera, but putting in a lot of work back there. What do you think of the view here? We obviously got a lot more going on now in the background. The hotel's in place. They're doing some construction across the way there. A lot of development here, without question, in Lakepoint Sports.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's great to see because, as you know, this is the destination for highest end baseball, and it's great to see. We've always had first class baseball amenities here, and now we're adding more and more other amenities here. It's awesome to see.
All right, so Ezekiel Lara from Modern Day, 2026. He's up to bat here for California. Number 2 player in the state among third basemen, 18th overall. Number 2 in the country at the position, by the way, as well. Top 135 player. One of the best hitters in the Trinity League as a freshman in a big-time program. So this kid had a chance to really make some noise here.
That's saying something because the Trinity League is the league of leagues. It has some of the best programs in the country every year. It's like the SEC of high school baseball.
Yeah, this California team has got some major talent in it, without question. We talked about Carolina's leaning on those 2025s. They brought some exciting 2026s here in a swing and a miss there for strike 1.
Well,
from Lara.
Where's the gong? Bang it.
Yeah, there you go.
90.4.
Austin, come through. We need a gong. We need sound effects. That wasn't in the budget to get sound effects made, so we'll get there.
Or just be like a cowbell or something.
There you go. Maybe I should get a cowbell and we keep it in here, and then we do it ourselves. All right, the 2-2 from Fowler. That one fouls off. The AB will continue.
I like this arm, Fowler. He's looks like he hides it well. He kind of has that bow and arrow arm action, and he kind of gets up on you pretty quick. I mean, obviously 90 will get up on you quick regardless, but some 90s get up on you quicker than others.
Got to love deception in his delivery. That one bounces, runs the count full.
74-mile-an-hour slider there. Still looks like he's struggling to find the feel for that pitch right now. But you could live off the fastball for a little bit.
I was talking to Michael Poole III from playing for Connecticut out of Rhode Island this morning. Bounces that one away, going to be played first base, flips it back to the pitcher, and we got our first out. Talking to Michael Poole III this morning, big arm out of Rhode Island, and he was saying that for him, just trying to manifest and visualize what he wanted this outing to look like, because I mean, I've imagined that it can get away from you when you're out there and you've got all those guys behind you watching everything you do from behind the plate. I would imagine those first few pitches for any of these pitchers have to be nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah. I remember maybe like 5 years ago, Team Oklahoma had the most loaded squad maybe in future game history. There's Jackson Wiggins, who just got drafted, throwing 103 now out of Arkansas. He didn't even make it out of the inning. We had to roll the inning because he could not throw a strike. But that happens. Everyone has bad outings. It's just the nature of the game. But you're right. Like, everyone wants to perform at their best in this situation.
This is Justin Lopez that's facing Fowler now. And think about this. I mean, a lot of the position players, and another miss there, the position players had the workout day to do, right? And they had their opportunity to showcase their tools there. This is all he gets to do. This is Fowler's chance to show what he can do for these scouts, and he's only got this limited opportunity within this game. So, yeah, it has to be a lot for a pitcher to deal with. Shoots that one into center field. Going to watch that trickle back to the wall. Lopez going to get it into second easily. Slides in for a double. One-out double there for California. Going to turn things over to Brock Kettleson, a really dangerous bat for this California roster. I'm excited to see this outfielder from Valley Christian San Jose. A high-level hit tool, hits to all field, above-average runner, plus arm. This is a big-time player for California coming into the plate near in the form of Brock Kettleson.
That Justin Lopez from Orange Lutheran High School, which is just a powerhouse. Just the amount of talent that comes out of that program is amazing.
All right, so a runner in scoring position now for California. See if they can cash in with one of their big bats, getting an opportunity. Flicks that one to second base. The throw going to be in time. The runner advances to third, though, so does his job a little bit, but does not cash in for that first California run. It's an interesting player here, and Dizel Hernandez for California. This is a guy who's a big-time defensive end in football, has raw power, ran a 6.7 at tryout, just an absolute freak athlete was what I got from the PBR California scouts on him. So this kid can do some damage, so we'll see what he's able to do here with a runner at third.
Speed-power combinations is a rare thing, and being 6'4", 205, kind of has a closed-off setup here. See if we can work the inner half. Ooh.
Oh, that was a big swing and a miss.
Well, that was the first breaking ball he landed at 75 miles per hour, and that will true up. That will keep the hitter a little bit more honest now, because before he wasn't able to land it.
Comes back with the fastball right down the middle.
He ran that back a little bit. That looked like it was on the outer half, and then just ran it back. He's got nice late arm side action on his fastball.
All right, so he's got an aggressive hitter here in a 1-2 count. We'll see how Fowler responds. Swing and a miss, and he gets him out of the inning. Out of the inning as things still remain scoreless here from Lakepoint Sports. We'll be back with more shortly from the 2023 PBR Future Games.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Welcome back to the 2023 PBR Future Games from here at Lakepoint Sports, Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney. I'm joined by PBR's president, Sean Duncan, as we hear Carolina against California. Scoreless game so far here as we go into the second inning. We're going to have Connor Robertson start things off for Carolina, followed by Matt McKnight and Peter Mershon. Exciting day so far here at Lakepoint Sports, and get this thing going here and see how these bats continue to deal with this weather. I mean, Sean, it's been brutally hot here. As you said, that's the one thing you can't control in how these kids deal with trying to perform their best in some really amplified heat.
Is it really hot? Is this traditional, summer heat here in Atlanta?
We didn't have it, though. A few weeks ago, it was still kind of mild, and then all of a sudden it just decided to break, and we are full-on summer heat now here in the South.
It's better than rain. That's all I know.
That's true.
All
right, that one back up the middle. All right, so we got a base hit here for Robertson. Just shoots that one right up the middle. So Matt McKnight comes to the plate with a runner at first.
That was a good piece of hitting. Just took the 87-mile-an-hour fastball right back up the middle.
All right, so Bowles was really impressive that first inning, but touch for a base hit here to start things off in the second. Matt McKnight jumps on him, too. That one into right field. Drops in front of the fielder, going to bounce over his head to the wall. Taking off for third. The throw home is not going to be in time. We got our first run. McKnight finds himself on third with an RBI triple.
Another really good piece of hitting. You know, just right center gap is where you want to live as a right-handed hitter. If you could pepper the right center gap, that means you really controlling the barrel, and that was really impressive. And you know, getting back to Bowles, I mean, he's an undeniably great arm talent. You see this a lot. We call it the future game. You know, you get amped up, super amped up, and then sometimes guys will throw 2 to 3 ticks harder than they normally do, and then maybe the second inning you come back down to what you traditionally pitch at, 87, 88. There you go, good breaking ball.
Yeah,
there.
that was pretty gross. Matt McKnight, by the way, is standing on third base, the number 5 shortstop in the state of North Carolina, out of Charlotte Christian. His father's a scout with the Reds organization, so it's a guy with baseball in his blood, and man, he jumped on that one for an RBI triple there for Carolina to put them on the board. Reaches down and pokes that one into left field, and that's going to be an RBI double.
He just kind of wrist flicked that on his
He
front
did.
foot, and it kind of looked like it one-hopped the base of the fence there. That's some real hand strength.
Yeah, that was a strangely hit ball, but man, he really reached out and just poked it for an RBI double. It's now 2-0 Carolina. So that was Peter Mershon, and we didn't get to spend any time talking about Mershon, but as Brandon Hall said pregame, just a really interesting player, has some serious baseball bloodlines. His brother David was a freshman at Mississippi State in 2023. His brother Nicholas played at Furman. His brother Joseph played at College of Charleston, and his dad played at Illinois and in the Reds organization. So it's a man who's just all about baseball, a baseball family, and makes a big impact there in his first at-bat in the future games.
What he just did right there is what a lot of the people in the stands want to see is like he kind of hung a breaking ball, stayed back, kept his hands back, and showed some real hand strength to get it out to the wall there. That's an advanced piece of hitting.
A big body, I mean, nearly took that one out. I can imagine having that kind of power. You can basically just reach down and flick a ball to the fence. But
At 16, 17
yeah,
years old.
it's insane. Dale Murphy told me one time, we were talking about Aaron Judge, and he said these guys today are far superior athletes than we ever were.
Well, he's one of the few guys that admit it like that.
And he was no slouch either. Came up as a catcher and, you know, a big guy in his own right.
He should be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that eventually happens. Politics play their way into those era committee meetings, and he's been a victim of that. This is Wilmer Martinez, shortstop for Carolina here. Watches the 0-2 make it 1-2.
Team Carolina, you know, I know a lot of the California, Texas, Georgia, like those, you know, the traditional powerhouse states, Florida. Carolina is no joke. Every single year, they might not have like the best pitchers, like top to bottom, but offensively, these kids always come to hit every year.
They get a big win here. You may hear some of the other PBR scouts lobbying to break it up and have a North Carolina and a South Carolina team, because for them to take two states together and pick those prime players from both of them, maybe it's not fair, Sean. Maybe that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. No. Well, if you want to think about it that way, it's in California like 5 states combined.
That's true, yeah. And then you got the Pacific Northwest, which is its own monster. So here comes the 2-2 to Martinez. Ooh, I surprised he took that. That was a good-looking pitch, dropped in. All right, Martinez, by the way, number 7 in the state among all shortstops in North Carolina, number 37 overall. That's a good pitch there from Bowles that just did not get the call.
Must have crossed a little high, maybe.
Had good break to it without question.
Yeah.
All right, running into a little bit of trouble here. He's at 24 pitches.
This is one that starts to feel a little bit hotter when you're on the mound and you're getting a barrel here, a barrel there, miss strike, potentially a strike 3 call there.
Responds well. He gets a strikeout.
Elevated 88-mile-an-hour fastball. It's a big pitch for him.
Guys just can't lay off those high fastballs, can they?
Yeah. It looks pretty fat.
Yep. Till it's not. This is Justin Sheffield playing right field. He'll be in right field for the first 3 innings here for Carolina, then shifting to center field later in the game. The runner's going. Throw is not going to be in time, a little wide there. So we got a stolen base as well from Mershon, who's showing you a couple of the tools here in this inning. The power, the speed. The kid can play.
Team Carolina is also afforded. They have some really good coaches in the dugout. They got Brandon Hall, who's a longtime college coach, and Sammy Esposito, who's our South Carolina director, who has been at the University of South Carolina, Houston, Wichita State. So those guys know how to coach up their players really well for big situations.
So Sheffield from Atlantic College in South Carolina, Atlantic Collegiate, number 7 in the state among outfielders, number 42 overall. I will say I have been confused by the black and white jerseys trying to figure out what state some of these kids are from, but I will say the accent stuff that the kids wear looks fantastic with this. He's got pink gloves on. Bowles has got those cleats. I think that's really been it's a nice foundation for these kids getting to swag them out a little bit.
Yeah, we simplified it this year a little bit for a few reasons, but one is look how crisp and clean the uniforms look with the socks,
yeah,
pants, instead of like kind of the rainbow uniforms, but seeing like pink uniforms, stuff like that. But you know what I learned is kids really like pink uniforms. They do. That's when you ask a 49-year-old guy to pick out uniforms. It's not, that was a good breaking ball.
Yeah, swing and a miss. I will say we've seen Bowles respond really well. He got in some trouble. They look like maybe they had figured something out with him. And he's really locked in over these last couple batters, shown some different looks. The breaking ball just seems to have a little bit different bite to it now than it did before.
That had some good depth to it, that breaking ball right there. Some top-to-bottom action.
Here is Andrew Painter. Andrew Painter from Oceanside Collegiate in South Carolina, number 2 player in the state among outfielders, number 11 overall. He's got a runner on, but 2 down here in the top of the second, a 2-0 lead here for Carolina.
Now he's really feeling the breaking ball. That was another really good. You starting him off, first pitch curveball, and you drop it in, you start getting in the hitter's dome a little bit. Like, okay, what's he going to do now? And he's going to throw another one, is my prediction. Oh, no.
Whew.
88 by him. Good spot, outer half.
Well, just to go back to the scouting report that I got from the PBR California guys, upper 80s, low 90s in the fastball. He's got a wipeout slider, a very good changeup. I think we've seen those secondary pitches have been showcased here in this second inning. All right, here comes the 0-2 to Painter. Tries to get the breaking ball by him, but that one going to float into center field. Camps underneath it for the out. So through 1.5 innings here, it's 2-0 Carolina. What have you liked so far? I mean, I know Bowles got into some trouble. Has him and Mershon been those 2 most impressive guys for you so far in this game?
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Team Carolina hitters, like how much balance and control of the strike zone, and because Bowles has good stuff. I mean, there's a couple of those balls that he got barreled up on. They were good pitches, right? Like it's upper. One was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. One was a really good breaking ball that Mershon, right? Just wrist flicked out to the outfield. So, and I'm really impressed with Team Carolina's kind of maturity in the box.
Yeah, we talked about Mershon. He's a catcher, number 2 in the state, and number 3 overall in the class of 2025. He's a top 25 catcher in the country in that class, number 214 overall. I mentioned those bloodlines that he has, and this kid just looks like he can absolutely play. Interesting that these Carolina kids are a little bit older, all 2025s, and I think that maturity is obviously showing a little bit too in their approaches.
I did not recognize that there's a lot of younger kids on this Team California squad.
All right, so now we're going to see Gavin Flores going to be coming to bat here for California. Still Landon Fowler on the mound. He's got this inning as well before they turn it over to Aiden Vorlick. Maybe that one didn't quite feel so right. So 2-0's our score here in the bottom of the second inning here from the Audi Marietta Field. 2023 PBR Future Games from Lakepoint Sports. That one flicks away. Well, foul, gonna make it 1-1.
Fowler's got some really good stuff. I mean, looks like it's a sinker slider guy who, fills up the strike zone. I bet you when that slider's right, it's a really tough pitch for right-handed hitters. It's a good pitch.
All right, the count is 2-1. A little bit more here about Gavin Flores from J. Sarah High School. He's the number 17 right-handed pitcher in the state, number 53 overall. So you got him showing some two-way potential here. Obviously, Bowles, the starting pitcher here, comes in as a ballyhooed first baseman that's showing the ability to get things done on the mound. Some athletes in this California team.
And Flores from J. Sarah, that's one of the top 5 high school programs in the country, year in, year out. You could bookmark it every single year. They're a factory.
Oh, doesn't get the edge there. So we got a leadoff walk.
It's a good job by the catcher trying to pull it back
Yep.
in a little bit, but he wasn't getting the umpire to bite on it.
He turns it over to Gary Morse. Gary Morse from Orange Lutheran, 2026, number 19 ranked outfielder in the state. 2026, number 97 overall. They expect him to be a 3-year starter at Orange Lutheran, just freakishly athletic. Lanky kid for sure.
6'5", 6'6", 185. I mean, if you're going to be a 3-year starter at Orange Lutheran, you got to be a dude. And you don't need a Walt Disney-like imagination to see what, a weight room, in 3-4 years, how that body's going to fill out. Long and thin kid. Good rhythm.
Oh, plunks him right on the hand.
Ouch. We do not like to see that.
No. Clearly it gets away from him. I mean, it's not as though you're trying to own the inside part of the plate at the future games.
Oh, that got the bat.
Did get the bat.
Ball.
Okay. All right. Looked like it hit him on the hand. The way he shook his hand, it looked as though it hit him.
It definitely got his hand, but maybe he got a partial bat. Who knows?
Nobody wants a HBP on their resume coming out of this event. So this at bat going to continue. It's 0-2. That one gets away. The runner going to advance to second. So Flores now on second base. CJ Weinstein on deck for California, followed by Christopher Romo.
I think everybody's a little bit more amped up to play Team California, too. They want to, California gets all the love. Well, that's a good swing. Gets a lot of love, obviously, for obvious reasons. It's just a factory of talent. But Carolinas, though, is too. I mean, think about the collegiate programs in the Carolinas. Yeah. Like, South Carolina is not that big of a state, and you got South Carolina, Clemson, Coastal that are perennial powers every year in and year out. So,
let alone all the ACC schools on Tobacco Road, and
yep.
a lot of big time college baseball being played in the Carolinas for sure. All right, So Aiden Wall out to have a little talk there with Landon Fowler. 1-2's the count here to Gary Morse. Back up the middle for a base hit. Flores going to take off for home and easily in there. Going to have an RBI double out of Gary Morse. Makes it 2-1 Carolina here in the bottom of the second inning.
Count me a big fan of Gary Morse. I mean, he got it on the hand, got new life, was down 0-2, battled back, and then just did a really nice piece of hitting for a double, RBI double right there.
Now up to bat is C.J. Weinstein. Weinstein, the #1 second baseman in the state in 2026 out of Huntington Beach, #7 player overall. He's the #1 second baseman in the country in 2026, 44th ranked player overall.
Huntington Beach is another perennial powerhouse. Good pitch. That ball had a lot of movement on it.
Weinstein nods his head.
Still working upper 80s, 88.
Yeah, this will be it for Fowler. He's going to turn it over to Aiden Vorlick.
Same spot, Blue. Oh.
The catcher, Aiden Wall, he's got these first 2 innings for Carolinas, and then he's going to be out of the position until the last 2 innings. So Peter Mershon, the big bat that we saw get that RBI double earlier, RBI triple, excuse me, he's going to be back in for catcher here for Wall as this game continues after this inning. All right, 2-2 is the count to Weinstein. Runner at second. It's Gary Morse, who delivered a run-scoring double.
Not quite as crowded behind the backstop in these early hours because I was up in the scout tower. There's a lot of people up there trying to stay out of the sun. Got the TrackMan score, up there so they could see.
Sends that one into left field. Going to be caught for the out. Morse going to stay at second base. So while we've got an opportunity here, Sean, I've still got you. The PBR All-American game coming to Milwaukee in September. This has to be a really exciting development for you.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. That was one thing we haven't done in the past, and chiefly we just didn't want to roll out just any All-American game. So I like what we're doing when it's this year's draft class, which will be the 2024 class versus the next year's draft class of the top 2025s. So it gives the scouting community a look of the present and the future, and the amenities that these players are going to get, from Mizuno and everything else. The coaching staff is really high end. It's going to be a great experience for those players, and so we're really super excited about it.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I'm assuming we're going to see some of the guys from these future games are probably going to be making their way up there for that 2025 class, but that remains to be seen. But that one sent into right field. First baseman camps underneath it, able to make the play in foul territory. Morse going to smartly stay at second base. Do you have any say in whether the roof's going to be open or not?
Well, if it's the weather isn't good, then we'll close it.
Yeah.
That was one of the reasons why we really looked at that. Just, and then the Midwest is more or less our roots, right? And so the Brewers have been very accommodating, so we're grateful for that.
Plus, you got Vinny Routino, who's part of things up there, anyways.
Yeah.
In PBR Wisconsin with his ties to the Brewers. So.
Oh yeah, he was a great help. Vinny is the man. Former big leaguer, who's our PBR Wisconsin scouting director, who calls a lot of the Brewers games.
The pickoff throw gets away, but Morse not going anywhere. So Shane Miranda currently up to bat for California out of St. Augustine in 2025. He's the catcher, number 13 in the state of the position, 99th ranked player overall. This is Bowles' teammate at St. Augustine. Call him one of the best catch-throw guys in the class, in the state. Sends that one up. Third baseman going to camp underneath it to make the out. All right, so we are through 2 innings here at the PBR Future Games. Carolina continues to lead 2-1. We'll be back with more action here from Lakepoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete and all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf.
Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
We roll on at the 2023 PBR Future Games from Lakepoint Sports here in Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney joined by PBR President Sean Duncan. 2-1 is our score here as Carolina takes on California. Still the same pitcher here as Grayson Bowles, for California. Ian Williams going to be batting this inning for Carolina, followed by Brady Gold and Stowe Rogers. We've seen some big-time pitching here from Bowles after that first inning. Sean, what's your expectations here for him as he goes out for another inning?
Well, this will be interesting because this is where like a little bit of stamina comes into play. How he could, if he's able to hold his velocity. A lot of people will kind of peter out after the second inning here, especially in the heat. So we'll see what he has in this third inning here.
Misses wildly on that first offering to Ian Williams, center fielder out of Wake Forest High School in North Carolina. 2025, as all these Carolina players are. The second-ranked player in the state at the position, number 44 overall. Flinches there and make it 2-0. Here comes the offering from Bowles. See if he drops in that breaking ball. He tried to.
2-0 breaking ball. Wasn't feeling the fastball, goes to the breaking ball, and see if Ian Williams gets a fat fastball if he swings out of his shoes right here. I would if I were him.
He does not, but he did get that 87 miles an hour.
You're not here to walk. That's
right.
always debate. Should we like give the hitter another at bat if he walks, but you try to keep it true. A little inside out swing right there.
Yeah, just right over the shortstop's head.
That's a good looking hitter right there. Just really balanced and relaxed, and he just inside outed that ball right over, flipped it over in the outfield, and I don't know how well Ian Williams runs, but I'm gonna guess he's gonna run on the second pitch. That's my prediction.
That piece of hitting there is exactly what Freddie Freeman told me that he's always trying to do, just trying to flick that over the shortstop's head. That's exactly what they're not looking for from a guy from the left side, and that's what Ian Williams did right there.
Yeah, I don't know if the Dodgers would love if Freddie Freeman just tried to inside out, it's not what he's getting paid.
No, it's not.
Millions to be like a singles inside out hitter.
No.
But
All right, let's see if he takes off as you forecasted. Brady Gold up to the plate. There he goes, and you called it. Let the throw a little off. So we get Ian Williams with a stolen base there after getting a single. So leadoff guy doing his job. Brady Gold from Wando High in South Carolina. He's the second-ranked middle infielder in the state, number 32 overall in those 2025s. All right, so last inning we saw them jump early on Bowles. He responded by shutting things down late. He's already got a runner on second. We'll see how he. Yeah, there is. That's the breaking ball for the strike that we saw last inning.
What I've really been impressed with both teams is everybody stands in the box like they can hit, and that you see some other times where it's like you're not in a really good hitting position here. I mean, all these kids look like know what they're doing in the batter's box.
That one shoots down the third base line, but it's going to be foul. Could have been a whole lot of trouble if Brady Gold had gotten that thing full, to be going fair.
Bulls, he just has to be careful. He's looking like he's starting that breaking ball in the top of the zone to drop it in for a strike, and occasionally if you don't get that spin right, it's going to hang up there and be a shelf ball. But he just put that foul. See what he does here.
All right, here comes the 1-2 from Bowles. Misses on the fastball outside.
Catcher tried to pull it in a couple feet, but he wasn't getting the umpire to bite on that one.
So again, we've got Ian Williams on second base. He had a leadoff single, followed it with a stolen base. Here comes the 2-2 from Bowles. Misses again on the fastball. That one at 87.4.
Have we even seen a changeup out of Bowles today?
I think he's primarily just been throwing the breaking stuff and that fastball. But I think if you're going to throw it a little bit later into an outing where you seem to be showing fatigue, would be a nice spot. All right, the count is full to Brady Gold, the second baseman. He's at second, by the way, for innings 1 through 4 for Carolinas. There's the breaking ball for a strike and gets the punch out.
Came in
nice
through the front door on that one.
And this is like last inning, right, where we saw him run into trouble early.
Yep.
He started relying on the touch on that breaking ball a little bit more as the ABs continued and was able to get out of some messes. We'll see what he can do there. He gets the first out via strike out of Brady Gold. Now he's going to face Stowe Rogers, the catcher. He'll be behind the plate for innings 4 through 5 for Carolina. Stowe Rogers from James Island Charter in South Carolina, 5th-ranked catcher in the state at 2025, number 17 overall. Big, tall stance, kind of get that Cody Bellinger look to him. Do you stay away from comps as a guy who's a talent evaluator?
No, because your brain works that way, right? Like you see it. You know, I saw Cody Bellinger at the NHSI, I don't know, 10 years ago, and it's like, hey, that setup's not going to work, and then all of a sudden you see him swing. It's like, in scouting, you're like, yeah, comps help, but there's no cookie cutter for anything, right? Like, stuff works for different people, but you all have to get to the same spot at the same time.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, you have to comp because it just makes it more interesting that way too, right?
Well, I know PBR Georgia's Justin Getz loves his comps more so than maybe anybody I've ever met before. So I was curious from the guy pulling all the big strings here at PBR what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful with comps, right? Like you don't want to. You could say maybe a setup, like you said. Oh.
Yeah, he goes right up the middle. It works. He gets that one to glance off the second baseman, and we've got an RBI hit. We're going to give him a hit on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now we're all tied up.
You just got to be careful with comps when you're dealing with. You have to see a lot, right, to understand like real comps.
Well, you also don't want to. I mean, we're dealing with still developing human beings here too, and you start making those comps too high. You don't want to fill somebody's head
You
with
can comp
notions.
the setup, the arm action, whatever.
All right, so now it's 3-1 Carolina after we get that RBI single there from from Stowe Rogers, who finds his way onto second base, showing off the speed there. I like catchers who run. Catchers who run are one of those.
I think they have the green light at all times all of a sudden. They have I haven't put a watch on his, how long it's taken to the plate, but knowing Brandon Hall in the Carolina dugout, I guarantee you he's got a stopwatch on the pitcher because he's a meticulous game coach from his college days. So
well, and I'm sure too. You talk about having a cadence on the mound and trying to keep runners off balance, but you may not even be thinking about that in this kind of an environment. You may not necessarily be thinking, am I staying in the same rhythm every time I'm delivering a pitch? Should I be, holding the ball longer? Should I be quicker? I mean, you may not even be thinking about that. You're just trying to make the most of your opportunity. This is Aiden Wall, another catcher. Stowe Rogers is going to take off for third in time. I think you're right. I think they've figured out something there in terms of Bull's delivery where they found the timing, and they are certainly feasting on it on the base pass right now. 1-1 is the count here to Aiden Wall. He's the last hitter in this long Carolina roster. Sends that one into center field. That one's going to roll, and so is Aiden Wall on his way into second. Thinking third. He's headed into third and going to be in time for an RBI triple from Aiden Wall, and it's now 4-1 Carolina here in the top of the third inning.
That was a good piece of hitting right there, and he could scoot. He made the turn on 4.76, so he got out of the box really well, and that was a really impressive piece of hitting. There's the slow walk by Les Lukács. I think he might have reached his pitch limit because he's laboring a little bit.
So by the way, you have a stopwatch in here with us in the studio, so you're committed man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been doing it for a long time, so you got to get bored if you don't have a stopwatch in your hand. So it's like, when you have a busy mind, it helps you try to simplify things.
So Aiden Wall, who just delivered that RBI triple, a catcher out of Ledford High School in North Carolina, number 2 in the state at the position, number 41 overall, just continues this feasting that we saw on Bulls. We saw some really highs from this kid on the mound. We saw really good secondary pitches from him. We saw a fastball that had some pop to it. But as things went on, Carolina found a way to make an impact, and especially base running and just doing some damage at the plate.
Yeah, and that's what we see every year from Team Carolina is like just a bunch of dudes that can really hit and run and are winning ball players.
We're going to see Bulls continue, so Les Lukács and him had their talk and told him whatever he needed to hear to let things continue. He's up to 52 pitches right now here in the top of the third.
Well, this has got to be his last inning, and let's get out of this thing. I don't like to see anybody labor through it. Let's get a couple outs and get back in the dugout and swing the bats.
Yeah, this is Xavier McCurry batting again. He was 0 for 1, the leadoff hitter here for Carolinas. Do you think they fight? So if you are a North Carolina fan, South Carolina fan, they say Carolina, and they will fight over whether you mean, if you say the word Carolina, whether you mean North Carolina or South Carolina. So the fact that this team is called Carolina, do you think the kids amongst them are fighting, but saying, well, it's called Carolina because of South Carolina?
Nah, I don't think so.
No?
I think they just want to come out here and beat other states.
I've talked to so many kids about that moment where they get the uniform, they put that jersey on, and it says their state on it, and they get a chance to go out there, and it's kind of them versus the world mentality. I know that's a really big deal for these kids to put on that uniform that has their state across it.
Yeah, it's fun, because in this type of event, obviously they want to show what they have, right? But so sometimes playing with a purpose that is not selfishly motivated the talent, like the competitiveness lacks, right? So when you have a certain level of pride of the state that you're playing for, just amplifies the whole competitive nature. And really, anytime you step between the lines, you want to compete. You want to win, and that's a trainable skill, just like running, hitting, throwing, right? Having that competitive mindset is, frankly, what's lacks. It's what separates tooled out players and winning players a lot of times. So it's about 1-8 to the plate. So that's what Brandon Hall was probably exploiting right there.
All right, Les Luquette's coming in with a couple baseballs. We're up to 58 pitches now for Bowles. He's got runners at first and third, a 4-1 Carolina lead here in the top of the third. Will Craddock up to the plate.
This is a good looking species right here. 6'4", 190, be 210 in another year probably or 2 years, I guess, when he steps on a college campus.
Unranked player right now. I would assume that's going to change pretty soon. It's out of T.L. Hanna High School in South Carolina. Again, Brandon Hall, Mid-Atlantic scouting director, said he was the big winner from workout day for the Carolina squad. And he's shown out here as well today. Chance to really break things open. 4-1 is your Carolina lead in the top of the third. Holds back on that miss high from Bowles.
I think if he doesn't get an out here, I'm guessing.
You're gonna roll the inning.
Or it depends. Who knows about rolling it in or bring a new pitcher in. You want the new pitcher to start with a clean inning, but.
The 1-0, the runner's going easily. That takes second base, that bounces away.
Good pick by the second baseman there. 2-2 down to second base.
I'd be interested to ask Brandon Hall later on what they saw. And if I'm Grayson Bowles, I'm going to ask him, what did you guys see that made you so aggressive? What did you guys see in my delivery that you know, we're in a competitive environment, but it's also about these guys getting the most out of their talent. That one is short, going to be in time, but we're going to get a run. Throw back to third, going to be wide. Runner's going to take off, headed for home, and slides in before the play, and 5-1 is now the Carolina lead.
I could probably get inside their mind. I don't know if it's so much like let's exploit the pitcher. It's more let's exploit and positively kids' abilities on the field. Meaning like if you're fast, show it off.
Gotcha.
Because this is what this is all about. Like yeah, everyone wants to win, but those guys, those coaches want these players to show what they do best. And if they're runners, like, hey, let's run.
Be athletic.
And you run until you get thrown out. And that give colleges a full glimpse of your ability. There you go. Nope. Still holding his velocity at 87 here.
Yeah, 6-1's the score. This is Caden Davis. That one bounces.
So
2-1's your count. 64 pitches so far for Grayson Bowles.
So I bet you if there's a walk here, the inning is probably going to get rolled. It's my good pitch right there.
Yeah, that's one of the better ones we've seen from that breaking ball. When it's on, it's fantastic. Beautiful pitch. Comes the 2-1.
But here's the thing about recruiting, scouting is Bowles is going to walk away and people are going to say, you know what, this kid's really good. It's the shape of the breaking ball is really good. The fastball's up to 91. The arm action is clean. The delivery is athletic. Like, there is a lot to like. So, results, obviously, you want great results all the time, but, like, it's more like, hey, if you get into a pitching program, weight room, you're getting analytics on spin rates and all that. Ooh, that was a really good pitch right there. That was a chase breaking ball that he didn't bite on, because that ball had a lot of bite.
But I think your message there is you're looking for a foundation. You're not you're not looking for a finished product.
Whereas, like, on the flip side, if someone has unbelievable results, but the delivery and the arm action is, there's red flags all around, that's not going to play at the next level, right? Or he's going to blow out.
I think Bowles just got asked if he was good, and he just gave a thumbs up towards the dugout. So he wants to keep rolling. 68 pitches. He's got a runner at first. 2 outs. 6-1's the Carolina lead.
I don't think he's going to run anymore. They're going to take the pedal off the gas.
Well, he's facing Zach Bender. Bender going to be in center field later today. Innings 5-7. Comes a 2-0 from Bowles. Flicks that one away, foul.
There it is.
It's up to 71 pitches.
Man, I thought you just said he was 54, like
it feels like it, right?
A minute ago.
Yeah. Carolina's gotten to him for 6 runs on 6 hits.
Bender out of Pro 5, that's a really good, it's pretty new, I think, 3 or 4 years maybe, and it's been turned into like a baseball factory. Good pitch.
Yeah, they showed out here during the National Academies Association tournament. And, we're gonna roll the inning there. So Bowles throws 72 pitches, again 6 hits, 6 runs in his outing.
Grayson Bowles has nothing to hang his head about. Like, he showed a lot, and probably wasn't the results he wanted, ideally, but that kid's going to be recruited well. Like, short memories, right? Like, people's next outing. It's the nature of baseball, right? You suck. It's I'm not saying he did, but like, you're good and you're bad and you're in between, and next outing, he's going to be awesome. I mean, the kid's got a huge future ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, think about the lineups you're facing, too. This is different than a high school season. This is different than a typical travel season. These are the best available players from the state that you're facing, and, you got some kids that can absolutely hit, and they showed it against them.
Yeah.
So we got a new pitcher here for Carolina's coming out. This is going to be Aiden Vorlick. So Vorlick comes in to take over for Carolina. Vorlick, a righty out of Somerville High School in South Carolina, an unranked player, attended a PBR Scout Day with his summer team as Team Carolina was finalizing its invitations, and made some noise there, jumped into the roster with a bullpen outing, and we're going to see what Aiden Vorlick's got here as this game continues in Carolina, holding on to a 6-1 lead in the bottom of the third.
There's a lot of strategies of how you construct pitching rotations in this thing, right? Like, so Bowles just went 3 innings and he's done for the event. There's another philosophy is, there's 3 games. Let's send everyone out, like 7 different pitchers in game 1, and then come back game 3, and they throw another inning. Usually what we have seen in a lot of, having done this a long time, is the first inning, the first time out, you're tight, you're nervous, you might struggle, but then you come back out the second, 2 days later, you're throwing harder, which is counterintuitive, but you're looser, and then you dominate. So you have something to come back to if you struggle the first time through. So anyway, we're back.
Vorlick, first offering, misses 85. He's facing Gino Capolazzo, Rowan Brown, and Mark Emmerman to follow. Gino Capolazzo from St. Francis, a catcher. He sends that one into center field. Camp underneath it to make the out.
Squared it up pretty good, but it was right at the outfielder.
And next up is Rowan Brown. Rowan Brown from Patrick Henry. He's a catcher, 2025, number 22 catcher in the state. Number 162 overall. He's going to pitch in the second game for California. Left-handed hitter. Say he can run into one on an occasion.
He had some good rounds of BP yesterday, Rohan Brown. I really liked it. It's really smooth, rhythmic, simple. Which is kind of the California way. It's relaxed, lots of rhythm in the hands, super balanced.
You can see him trying to find the little Marcelo Zuna-ish little rotation there in between pitches, trying to
You're showing your Atlanta bias right there.
See a lot of guys doing that in between pitches. There's a strike.
That was well played by the catcher there. That's a true art form, is the guys that could really sneakily pull it back into the zone.
I've talked to so many people, Drew Locascio, Brandon Hall, some of the catchers that are here, Noah Blackburn from Alabama, who was here in previous years and for junior feature games and feature games last year, about the role of the catcher in this event and how it's so different from a lot of other events, because you've got to calm that guy down. Yep. Your job is to make that pitcher look good, a guy who's going to be amped up. It really is a lot being put on these kids' plates to come in here and be a catcher in this event. You know the guys are trying to throw as hard as they can.
Oh, yeah. And that was a really nice backdoor 75-mile-an-hour breaking ball right there. And the catcher won that pitch because it was out of the zone. But he really, he just did a nice job of just subtly pulling it back in.
This is Mark Emmerman batting now for California. Emmerman from a shortstop from Junipero Sierra Gardenia, number 30 in the state among second basemen, 131 overall. They say he's a Swiss Army knife infielder. Doesn't really have a position, can kind of play all over the place, but primarily plays shortstop for his high school team. Real low hand setup.
Well, the super utility is really en vogue, right? Like the more positional versatility you have makes you a lot more valuable.
That was Mickey Tettleton. That's how low those hands are. Maybe the bat's not cocked back like Mickey Tettleton, but the hands are low. So a walk there from,
I think, not many people will get that reference of Mickey Tettleton, but I did. It's one of the most unorthodox setups of all time.
Yes. Back up to the top of the order here for California, Ezekiel Lara.
He gets a lot of run on his fastball. Arm side action.
Vorlick settling in now. The 0-1, no, he misses. 2 down in the inning. Carolina up 6-1. So far, they've out-hit California 6-2. Comes the 1-1. Tried to steal that one, but not going to happen.
Who is this catcher for Carolina? Sorry, I should know this. I think there was a change, right?
Yeah, we've now switched to.
It's kind of Kane's helmet. Whoever it is really good. I'm super impressed by this kid behind the plate.
I believe this is Stowe Rogers.
Sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
No
I
worries.
thought you knew everything.
I was given a lot of information before this, so I was given the defensive assignments in that one. Yeah, Laura sends that one down the line. Going to have a
hold him.
Runner staying. Les Lukács smartly keeps the runner at third.
Good piece of hitting right there. All right, California's starting to cook now.
This is Peter Mershon, by the way, behind the plate. So we've seen Mershon show out with the bat, with the legs, as a catcher. Pretty good-looking player.
Yeah. It's pretty advanced behind the plate. Let's see if he could throw someone out now.
It's a big target, too. Jared Jones is maybe the biggest high school catcher that I've ever been around. It looks like he's got some pretty good size to him, too.
Jared Jones put on one of the best BP shows of all time here at the Future Games. He was going over the scoreboard every swing.
He's a monster.
Him and Harry Ford. That was a heck of a. Dill Lesko was on that team too for Team Georgia.
Wow. Nice.
Crazy to think that Harry Ford wasn't committed at this time when he wasn't, he was well known but not well loved, and then he became really, really, really good. Now I think he's probably the top prospect in the Mariners organization.
I can't tell you how many of the kids have told me, and I actually heard some of the Texas guys talking about this yesterday, how they would love for this to be a full-blown tournament, that they would love to just see who would end up winning.
Yeah.
If they could really.
We do it on the junior side, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, to do that, you're going to burn out arms,
Oh, sure.
guys. It's more of a pitching control thing than anything, right? So, you want to hold guys back, and then maybe you don't get the chance to pitch, and then,
Yeah, the batters would love it. The pitchers, it probably their arms would be falling off by the time they got out of this. All right, so Justin Lopez with a little dribbler comes through. It's 2 down in the inning, but it's 6-2 now is the lead. Brock Kettleston, now batting for California. Here comes the 1-0.
Good job.
Mershon stole another.
Living around 82, 83 on the fastball with some arm side life to it. But I think the California hitters are starting to settle in a little bit.
Big miss there from Borlick. Here comes a 2-1. He's got a runner at first. Two runners taking off for second, and
we didn't get to see him hit I wish we'd have got a chance to see him throw it down. Then he could have had it all.
Well, it's through 3 here at the 2023 PBR Future Games. Carolina up 6-2 on California. Sean Duncan, I know you're going to be joining us later this weekend. I really appreciate the time, man. You throw a heck of a party.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and we're very grateful to be here. So thank you very much.
Without question. All right, we'll be back with more soon here from Lakepoint Sports, Emerson, Georgia, the 2023 PBR Future Games.
making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
PBR Future Games from Lakepoint Sports here in Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney. I'm now joined by Matt Payne from PBR North Carolina. Matt, what have you liked that you've seen so far from your kids? We talked about Peter Mershon, a kid who's made some serious noise in this game. Up 6-2 here in Carolina in the top of the fourth. What have you liked so far from your kids?
You know, California ran out a good arm to start against us and kind of blew our guys away a bit in the first inning. And, you know, that second wave of hitters got in there and put some good swings on balls, and, you know, highlighted by Mershon's extra base hit to left there on a breaking ball, stayed through it. And I like our presence in the box and the confidence those guys are showing right now.
All right, so we've got a new pitcher in for California right now. This is Rowan Casangodu. I know I'm going to butcher that. So Rowan coming out, get things started here for California in the fourth inning, coming in for Grayson Bowles, who pitched over those first three. Up to bat right now for Carolinas, we've got Matt McKnight, the aforementioned Peter Mershon to follow, and Wilmer Martinez. Tell me a little bit about Matt McKnight.
Highly skilled player. We've got to see him for a while now, and a lot of barrel feel. Does a lot of things easy, and, you know, it's a long, rangy body, and when he fully grows into that, I think you're going to have something special.
Rowan Casangodu for California on the mound from Valley Christian Schools. He's a 2025, number 36 right-handed pitcher in the state, 148 overall. He's been in the upper 80s, flirts with the 90s. These scouts say he's got a good body, pretty clean arm, been working to employ a split-finger fastball, but doesn't seem to have quite the feel for it yet. He's 2-0 here to McKnight in the top of the fourth. So I found it interesting talking to Brandon Hall about this. You guys made an effort because of this, everything going on with the recruiting world in this event, to have a roster of 2025s. I think we're seeing a little bit more advanced approaches from these guys at the plate as well.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while, and on the summer circuit playing down here. Most of them have played here and are comfortable here. And you know, we've brought some younger guys in the past, and sometimes they're a little more wide-eyed. And with the new recruiting rules, we want to get those 25s down here and give them a chance to show off, and we're excited to have them here.
You guys have been really aggressive on the base pass. Was this just a matter of, look, we've got some athletes and let's let them go out there and be athletic?
We tell them after workout day that they're on their own. You know, if you want to run. You know, 3-0, you got green light, and let them play. And if they make a mistake, we can talk about it after, but we want them to play free, have fun, and not be afraid to make a mistake.
So here is Peter Mershon, and talked to Brandon Hall about the bloodlines for this kid. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous with his brother David at Mississippi State, Nicholas at Furman, Joseph College of Charleston, and his dad being part of the Reds organization, having played at Illinois. I guess you just hear there's another Mershon, and you guys just go ahead and send out an invite to get him here on the roster?
Oh, no doubt. We've heard that name for years, and he's been a standout for quite some time, and he's living up to the bloodlines.
Really impressive behind the plate, too. I mean, we saw some strong pitching from Vorlick last inning, but he was definitely getting some help from Mershon, just the ability to frame. I mean, he seems to be doing it at an extremely high level at his age.
He definitely has some presence back there, and he's comfortable. And that's one thing that jumps off to me about him is his confidence in everything he does.
Well, he's the number 2 ranked catcher in the state, 2025, number 3 overall, number 24 in the country at the position. I would assume that's probably going to rise considering the way he's been playing here at the Future Games so far. Sends that one into center field. Tag up, runner going to be headed home. Building that lead now 7-2 as Vorlick gets the sacrifice to make another run for Carolina.
Good approach right there.
Are you surprised with the way that the kids have hit against some really high-end pitching so far?
I am, to be honest, because it's such a pitcher's event, and you rarely get to see the same guy twice, and you're getting their best stuff for a couple innings. So a lot of times in these events, the offense is a little slow to start, but they've been impressive so far today.
Wilmer Martinez back up to the plate, shortstop out of Ledford High School in North Carolina. 7th-ranked player in the state, number 37 overall. So this is one of your kids from North Carolina. I talked to Brandon how you guys, along with Sammy Esposito, build the roster, trying to keep things equal among the North Carolina and South Carolina guys. How difficult does that make it for you, knowing that, you know, I've got some kids that can play, but I've only got so many options there because we're trying to keep things across 2 states?
It makes it difficult because both states are extremely talented, and then, you know, it goes into positional breakdown too, and there's always some guys that get left off from both states that are, you know, could very easily be here. One thing with Wilmer right here, he's a really good defender, and you see him hitting left-handed. He's only been doing that for, you know, we're getting close to a year now. So I'm proud of him for going ahead and getting in the box down here and doing it live.
Yeah, that's a pretty gutsy move doing it in this environment. Sends that one to first base, going to be able to make the play himself for the out. But you do that here, I mean, you're opening some eyes for sure. Justin Sheffield up to bat now. Sheffield in first 3 innings was in right field. He's going to be in center field through innings 5 through 7. Sheffield from Atlanta Collegiate in South Carolina.
Had some good swings his first at bat.
The nice bright batting gloves. Did mention to Sean Duncan, the black and white uniforms have released. The accents from the kids are really popping. You know, via the cleats, be it the gloves, seem to stand out a little bit more with those black and white uniforms.
It's a clean look.
Yep. Nice, easy. We call that play chaos, and the 13, now 14-year-old kids that I coach, we run that little play to make it the out at first base. First base to catcher, make it nice and simple. All right, so we're through half inning there. It's Carolina's now up 7-2. Tell me a little bit about Vorlick. We saw him last inning show some ability to spin it, show the fastball. Tell me a little bit about the arm.
He's got arm strength. Like the delivery, good lower half in there, and I think he's another guy. You know, we're towards the back end of summer now. I think when you see him early next year, you're going to see some bigger numbers from him.
The years that you've been around this event, I mean, this year is just different. I mean, we talked about it with the recruiting rules and the changes. There's so many more college coaches here. There's so much more of a spotlight on these kids because of the August 1st opening back up. I think we're going to see so many kids from this event. I mean, in past years, we've seen a lot of kids coming out of this. I think it's going to be pretty insane this year. From your vantage point, how different has it been?
Well, you know, in years past, you've had kids, you know, basically commit during the event. They come down uncommitted, do really well on workout day, and they're getting calls. And now you can see the anticipation for August 1st. You know, who's going to call me on that day? Is it going to be the school I want? And it's, you know, more like it was when I played, and it's very exciting for those guys.
And how much easier did it make it in terms of building out the roster where you didn't have to worry about, man, is that kid going to commit before we put this thing together? Or you didn't have to worry about that this time.
A lot less stressful. You know, every year we've had guys commit, and then they commit to us, and then they commit to a college. And this year we didn't have to deal with that, and it was a lot less stressful.
All the years that we've been here at Lakepoint Sports, we've seen some kids really show out. Did you have somebody on the roster that you were kind of earmarking, thinking, I think that kid's going to really open some eyes, and maybe people aren't talking enough about him going into this?
Matt McKnight would be one for me, and then another kid, Zach Bender. He came to one of our trial events. Had heard the name, haven't seen a whole lot of him, and he put on a show yesterday in BP, and always good to see those guys do that.
Well, we're going to have a new pitcher here for Carolina. This is going to be number 23 coming in now. This is Austin Fetterspiel from East Forsyth High, another one of your kids here, Matt. Tell me a little bit about Austin.
Plays in a really good high school program. They were like 22-2 at one point this year. He mainly closed for those guys. They had some seniors, high-level commits, and he's got arm strength and he's got confidence.
That was a nasty breaker that he started off with, too. You think about throwing a first pitch breaking ball in this environment. Oh, he misses there, but a pretty live arm, I'd say, without question.
Yeah, strong kid, has arm strength, and he's been fun to be around the last couple of days.
Of note there, East Forsyth with the very first PBR National High School team in the rankings at number 24 for the state of North Carolina, so part of a pretty strong program. He's going to now face Gavin Flores. Gavin came through pretty big for California as they broke through for their first runs.
Really cool to see all those coaches back there. You know, and the turnout you get at this event year in and year out.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words because I talk to kids before they come here, and you just try to explain it to them, and Flores sends that one into left field, going to make the catch. You really can't understand it until you're in it, you know, to see how busy it is, to walk underneath that scout tower and how you have to weave through coaches on all four sides. I mean, it's not just one field. I mean, it's all four at once. They're just jam-packed, and it's almost like a buffet for these college coaches. They just get to bounce around and see some of the top uncommitted players in the country and Canada.
Yeah, it's amazing. Those guys come from all over the country. It's not just the Southeast, and that tower up top's loaded too, so great opportunity for all these players.
I will say in years past we did these broadcasts from the scout tower, and it was loud up there. You're taking up space. Guys just wanted to get up there and get out of the sun for a little while, so we were making everybody's life a little bit easier, and appreciate you coming on with us for a couple innings here to talk about the Carolina kids.
Good pitch right there.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic pitch. Big Gary Morse up to bat now. Morse is 1 for 1. Out of Orange Lutheran, 2026. Real long, lanky body. As Sean Duncan said, you can just kind of dream on him hitting the weight room and just becoming an absolute monster when you see that foundation he has to work with.
Yes, you can.
Ball bounces away, and 2-2's the count now to Gary Morse. What do you tell a kid when they're going into this event? I know some of them I've talked to really feel like the workout day allows them to show all the tools, and that one going to be flipped to shortstop. And just a throw over. Dead ball. But in terms of all that goes into this, because the workout, obviously some of the kids show out a little bit better in the game, the flow of the game. What's your message to a kid when he goes into this environment?
Do your best to relax. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't feel like you have to get hits to be recruited. You know, they're looking at your body type and your tool set, and you know, it's just a sample size of who you are as a player, and to show it off, and really don't be afraid to fail.
Full count now here to Gary Morse. Austin Fetterspiel. He's going to walk Morse.
Good job by the catcher going out right there. Give him a little breather.
(7-2) is your Carolina lead here in the bottom of the fourth. C.J. Weinstein now up to bat for California. That one bounces into right field. Throw home is going to be wide, so we're going to have another run in there for California, make it 7-3. So things cooking here for California. Again, 7-3 now is the Carolina lead. Christopher Romo now up to bat for California. Romo from Eleanor Roosevelt High School, 2025, the number 9 third baseman in the state in 2025, number 115 overall. California guys just say scrappy, huge arm infielder. Say he plays with his hair on fire. Very high baseball IQ. See how Austin Federspiel deals with him. 1-0 is the count. This is for ball 2. Comes a 2-0. That one to second base, going to be able to make the play, but trading it out for a run is now 7-3, or 7-4, excuse me.
Nice play right there to the second baseman.
That'll make it Shane Miranda's chance here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th. Shane Miranda, a catcher from St. Augustine in 2025, the 13th ranked catcher in the state in that class, number 99 overall. This is Grayson Bowles, the starting pitcher for California. This is one of his teammates. Scouts say he's one of the best catch-throw guys, in the state in the class. Monster offensive summer, scuffled a little bit in the spring, but really made a lot of noise here, and obviously looking to continue to do that here at the Future Games.
Good setup in the box.
Comes a 2-0 from Federspiel. Just a little bit of a dribbler into center field and gets the job done with another run for California. Things all of a sudden getting really interesting here. Now 7-5. Carolina was way out in front. But California's come back and really made this thing interesting here with a big 4th inning.
Finding holes with those ground balls.
Now it's Gino Capolazzo's turn here for California. Try to keep this train going as they just keep eating into that Carolina lead. Federspiel slips that one in there for a strike. That was one of the better breaking balls he's thrown so far.
Got some extension on that one.
Comes the 0-1. Tries to do it again. That one going to be hit off the third baseman, and everybody's going to be safe. So runners at first and second there. Just a little bit of trouble and could not make that play in time. Smartly didn't throw it, but obviously, got himself into some trouble there. Didn't rush things and just let the guy make it to first.
See that sometimes with pitchers at this event. They have so much adrenaline. They need to wear out a little bit to get feel for some of their off-speed pitches.
Yeah. So, it's stuff that's a field pitch anyway. It's going to take time to find that all that touch on it and whatnot. So here's Patrick Henry's Rowan Brown catcher, number 22 catcher in the state, 162 overall. Again, he's going to pitch in the second game for California. Facing Austin Federspiel. Run into a little bit of a trouble, but we've seen a few strong moments from him. There's a nice pitch.
I feel like California keeps running up left-handed hitters.
They got a few of them, it seems. He really likes that pitch.
He does.
The 1-1's the count to Brown. Brown 0 for 1. Tries again. 2-1. Hits the second base, but makes the throw in time. Get out of the inning, but not before California cuts into this Carolina lead. It's now 7-5 as we head into the bottom of the fourth, into the things continuing here at Lakepoint Sports. We're going to be back with more here from the 2023 Future Games for Emerson, Georgia.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
Back at it here at the 2023 PBR Future Games from Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney along with PBR North Carolina's Matt Payne. We saw Carolina go into that fourth inning with a big lead. California comes back with 3 runs. What do you expect to see out of the bats here as we go into the 5th inning? Andrew Palmer going to be followed by Ian Williams and Brady Gold.
Those guys had good at-bats first time through. Hope they continue to show the same comfort that they have and hopefully get a couple of those back right here.
They're going to still continue to face Rowan Casagodu, the pitcher here, from California. From Valley Christian Schools, number 36 ranked right-hander in the state, number 148 overall, into the upper 80s, flirts with 90. So we'll see what he's able to do. I know these Carolina bats are going to want to respond after watching that lead kind of slip away from them a little bit, but still continue to be up by 2 runs here in the top of the 5th inning. So we'll see again Andrew Palmer followed by Ian Williams and Brady Gold starting things off for Carolina here in the top of the 5th. Palmer, the first 2-time Team Carolina attendee, by the way, for the Future Games. Homered in the 2022 Future Games. I'm sure Carolina would love to see another one of those right now out of Oceanside Collegiate.
You know, without the new recruiting rules, he's a guy that may not be here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him. I think that just created a whole lot of buzz this time around, just the level of players that everyone was going to be seeing. Kasanagodu comes there for a ball to start things off to Palmer. Nope, another ball in the field. We have a momentary stoppage in play here. One of the unforeseen things at Lakepoint Sports is when you're on a field and the ball bounces over from another one. Here comes the 1-0. Slips that one in there. Pretty strong. A similar location to the last pitch, but he gets that one in for a strike. And the 1-1. Really trying to live on the outside portion of the plate against Palmer.
Quick arm, looks athletic.
There's a strike. Lining up on that left side of the rubber.
He keeps getting it out there.
Comes the 2-2 from Kasanagodu to Palmer. Everything he's thrown him so far has been glove side. All right, the count is full to Palmer. Here comes. I guess some big swing and miss there. Comes through with the breaking ball to get this first strikeout. That was a nasty pitch.
Yes, it was. It looked like he went change up right there. You see Palmer spread out there with 2 strikes, but it was a really good pitch.
Now it's Ian Williams. Williams from Wake Forest High School, number 2 ranked as center fielder, in the state in 2025, number 44 overall. Give me a little bit of a report here on Williams.
Played at second hit of the day right there up the middle. Played at Wake Forest High School, another high school that was in the PBR national rankings. A super talented club. He played center for them, and as you've seen here today, he's just a spark plug. Gets on base, runs well, and plays center field.
Well, he'll give way to Brady Gold from Wando High in South Carolina, middle infielder, 2nd ranked in the state in that position, number 32 overall, and he's taken off. Continue to just be crazy aggressive on the base pass. That's got to be 6 or 7 combined stolen bases from Carolina in this game.
You like seeing those guys be aggressive and show the confidence to just take off like that.
You wear those oven mitts for a reason, right?
That's right.
Get some use out of them. They're not just decoration. Sanagodu slips on that one, the 1-0. Yeah, the kids I coach, everybody's got them. Not everybody needs them, but everybody's got them. Comes a 2-0 to Gold. A little bit added gas on that one, but comes in at 87. All right, 3-0. Now he's taken there. Gold going to be followed by Stowe Rogers. Rogers going to be behind the plate again in the bottom half of this inning. Seven 5's the Carolina lead. Comes a 3-1. Flicks that one foul. Sanagodu is up to 29 pitches so far. Payoff pitch, bounces, walks him. Have runners at 1st and 2nd here with 1 down in the top of the 5th. Give way to Stowe Rogers. Rogers 1 for 1. Rogers from James Island Charter in South Carolina. 5th ranked catcher in the state. Number 17 overall. Runners going. And finally, California finally throws out a Carolina runner. The first of the day.
To the backside runner right there. Williams had 3rd base pretty easily right there. Good job by the catcher and their middle guys throwing to 2nd, getting the out.
So 2 down now, but still a runner in scoring position for Stowe Rogers. 7-5's a Carolina lead, and sends that one to 3rd base. The long throw is going to be in time. So we're going to be out of that half of the inning. Carolina continues to lead 7-5. Saw them respond there and keep this thing close. Tell me what you're watching for here as the scene continues for Carolina.
Look for Fetterspiel right here. See if he can go out and get his fastball in the zone, get ahead early. Breaking ball looks good, but he needs to have the fastball in the zone to make it effective.
Yeah, that was one thing that Sean Duncan was talking about. Like, a lot of these kids will go out in that first inning, everything gets amped up a little bit. You know, whether they come out another game or they come out another inning and within the same game, they find that these kids a little bit more even keel as the game continues. We're probably going to see a little bit more of the real version of Fetterspiel this next time out.
No doubt. They have so much adrenaline, and then when they finally get over that, they settle down and more who they really are day in and day out.
We saw him obviously throw a ton of breaking balls that first inning. Did that surprise you from what you've seen out of him? A guy who's been a lot in a closer role that we really didn't see him throw a whole lot of fastballs?
Absolutely. You know, seeing him during the high school year, he comes out and attacks with a fastball, and then will put guys away with the breaking ball. So a little surprising to see him go breaking ball early so much today.
Well, we'll see if he continues that. He's got Mark Emmerman coming up next for California, and they're going to be at the top of the order with Ezekiel Lara and Justin Lopez. The lead for Carolina still continues at 7-5, but that 3-run fourth inning last time out really made things interesting here as we head to the bottom of the fifth. And again, you'll see Austin Federspiel on the mound for Carolina, see if he can rein things in a little bit here against this California team. And started out really big day for Carolina. Things have gotten interesting. We knew these California bats. They brought some big-time hitters with them. And now we're going to see what they're able to do against Federspiel as they get a second look at him here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Emmerman sends that one into shallow right field, able to camp underneath that and make the out. So one pitch, one out. Can't get any more efficient than that. Now it's going to be back to the top of the order here with Ezekiel Lara. Lara from Modern Day, 2026. Number 2 center fielder in the country among 2026s. 135 overall. Lara's 1 for 2 on the day. Federspiel sends that one way outside for 1-1. The offering right down the middle. Lara flicks that one away foul.
A couple fastballs in the zone right there.
Clearly, he had to have had, you know, the idea that he was going to throw a lot of those breaking balls the last time out. Maybe just to calm himself down, a pitch that's a little bit more feel than going out there and just trying to run up the gas.
Probably hearing us in the dugout tell our hitters to hunt fastball early and be ready for it. He's probably thinking their guys are too.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times in this environment, right, you think everyone wants to challenge everybody. So for a guy to go out there and be thinking, pitching backwards, that's not what the hitters aren't thinking that without question. All right, the count's full to Lara. Gets the K. Nice finisher there. He didn't have that last inning.
No, he didn't. That one had some bite to it.
Now it's Justin Lopez from Orange Lutheran. Second-ranked second baseman in the state in 2026. Starts him off 1-0. Comes the next offering. Misses. Oh, again, give him on the corner there. So makes it 1-1. Shoots that one foul. Two down here in the bottom of the fifth. 7-5 is your Carolina lead. Austin Federspiel's at the 35 pitches so far in the second inning of work for him. Justin Lopez is 2 for 2 on the day. Now they say he went. We're going to be out of that half of an inning. Carolina continues to hold a 7-5 lead here at the 2023 PBR Future Games from Emerson, Georgia. Matt, thank you so much for stopping by, man. Appreciate the time.
Enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
I will be back with more here from Lakepoint Sports.
Next. Next. Stop.
We got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one,
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
Back here at the 2023 PBR Future Games from Lakepoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia. Corey McCartney now joined by Sammy Esposito from PBR South Carolina. Sammy, man, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having us on.
Interesting game here for the Carolinas squad. You guys get that big lead. We've seen California and some younger bats. A lot of 2026s on this squad. Kind of test your pitchers a little bit. How have you kind of seen the guys respond? What's been your take on things so far from the Carolina team?
I think they've come out. Obviously, they came out of the chute hot, and kind of jumping on a big time arm for California out of the gate. But I thought they've done a good job battling back. California has, and kind of waded through some stuff. I thought Landon Fowler came out of the chute and was really, really good for us. Sinker baller with some good stuff and a developing breaking ball. So I think it's been a good start both ways, and seeing some players battling both ways.
Well, we're continuing with Rowan Casagodu on the mound for California. He gets a strikeout there of Aiden Wall to start things off. Xavier McCurry and Will Craddock going to be here to follow in this half of an inning. Just like every other pitcher we've seen so far, Casagodu kind of finding his way early on. I mean, these kids get ratcheted up. But, man, we saw some nice stuff from there in that half of that first at bat there to start this inning off from him. Yeah,
he's obviously got good stuff, but it's a little funky. It's a way over the top arm slot, and those breaking balls and changeups are diving down away from those barrels. So he listened to the guys talk in the dugout. It's kind of tough for them to pick up what he's throwing out there.
Well, here's Xavier McCurry from Providence High School in North Carolina, shortstop, 8th-ranked player in the state at the position, number 43 overall. He's 0 for 1 on the day.
He's had I know he's opened up some eyes. He's had a good workout yesterday and taking a couple good swings. So he's opened up some eyes for himself moving forward.
Right down the middle, makes it 2-1.
Yeah, good start, right off the bat. California comes out with some big time arms, so it's good for those hitters to see what it is around the country.
Yeah, Grayson Bowles, interesting player. I mean, this is a guy who's one of the top-ranked first basemen in the country, and he comes here to show out with the arm a little bit for California. I thought he threw over 70 pitches. You don't really see that happen in this environment for a kid. I saw he motioned over to the dugout. I don't know if Les Lukacs was saying, "Are you good?" And he just kept giving a thumbs up. So. Yeah,
we were kind of sitting in the dugout wondering how many more is he going to throw over there. But hey, those first couple innings, he was lights out. He was just, with that breaking ball and the good arm strength with the fastball. He was very impressive. It was a good job by the hitters on Team Carolina to be able to scratch some off him.
The count's full to Xavier McCurry. Going to have a base runner. So walks him, a 1-out walk. Going to give way to Will Craddock. Will Craddock, one of your kids from TL Hanna, was unranked coming into this event, but I know Brandon Hall said he was one of the big winners for you guys during the workout. I anticipate unranked is not going to be going part of the deal with him going forward.
No, you're right. Will is about a year and a half ago, maybe a little bit over that, he had a big injury with his foot, broken foot, and missed quite a bit of time. And we saw him quite a bit this spring in high school. And and he had himself a really, really good high school season. And he came out, like you said, he was a big winner on workout day. Showed the ability to really, with that size and strength, to be able to stick it short and plays the game pretty easy. So he's had a big summer himself, and hoping to look to capitalize that. And I know the first 3 at-bats hadn't gone his way, but he looks to capitalize and take off, continue to take off.
Well, he avoids the double play there as gets the out at second, but he's able to leg things out and stands on first base with Caden Davis from TC Roberson, from North Carolina, up to bat now. Davidson, the top-ranked first baseman in the state in that class, 17th overall, the 9th-ranked first baseman in the country among 2025s.
Yeah, obviously some good bloodlines with his brother, and he's swung the bat really well, and with a state championship, I believe, in that high school.
Wait a minute, is this Tucker's brother?
Braxton.
Braxton. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a longtime Braves reporter. I know Braxton Davidson well.
Yeah. So he obviously some good genes in that family, and comes from a really, really, really good high school program.
Yeah, Braxton was a big bat coming out, without question.
Yes. He was at our border battle not too long ago with us in North Carolina, and he had a good event that day and worked out well again the other day. So obviously some tools in that skill set.
So I understand he's messing with switch hitting. How much have you seen him do that?
I haven't seen much on my end. I know he's been trying to tinker around with it, and that's obviously something that I don't know if you want to roll out into this environment with that one. With the arms that you're facing, but it'd be a tough one to come out and go, I'm going to see what I got today.
Well, the drop third gets away, so we're going to have runners at the corners with 2 outs.
See if we can get a couple more runs here to get a little bit more separation as California got back in this game here. So.
Yeah, Zach Bender now up to bat for Carolina. Bender coming in out of Pro 5 Academy. Mentioned a couple times already in the broadcast, we had them here for the National Academies Association conference tournament. And you talk about this is a big collection of talent, but that's no slouch either when you start getting those kids together in those academy schools.
No doubt. You're obviously starting to see that more and more. It's good pitch. We joke around a lot because, we do our rankings based off the high school. So what state do they go to the high school to? And some of those kids bouncing around and coming in and going out. And, a lot of times it's hard to see it. But there's obviously, like I said, a lot of talent in there.
All right, sends that one to second base. That makes the flip to short and gets out of that half of an inning. 7-5 is the Carolina lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Tell me what you anticipate out of the kids as we get into these last couple innings. We've seen the pitchers. I think it gets to the point late in the game where now it just becomes a game, right? You're not worried so much about the hoopla and the scouts and everything. Has that kind of been your experience as you get late in the game? It's almost like that all-star game scenario, right? It's like late, it all becomes about winning, and it's no longer about just going out and showing out like it was early on.
Right. The beginning of the game, right? It's you're looking around, you see the coaches in the stands. You're trying to get some things, and that now gets the part. Hey, let's try to win this thing. So it kind of gets that off and. See some people might tighten up a little bit more with the game on the line, or maybe they step up in those big situations. So it's also hard for a lot of these hitters, right? Because you're getting just when you start to get comfortable, you get a new arm come in there, and we're about to run out a new arm here in the last couple innings. So it's a little bit different, as those hitters start to get a little comfortable, maybe it's a different look. So, but it's winning time. So we'll see who steps up.
In your conversations with the coaches, the college coaches and recruiters that have been here, this year different than any other that we've had with the new recruiting rules. How much more amplified was things from the guys you've talked to in terms of past years?
It seems like, right, the summer's the summer. Schools go out and they try to do as much as they can during the, during the high school season, and then the summer comes and they get out there and they're going. It seems like with these new rules and then obviously the transfer portal, it seems like the month of June is very heavily transfer portal time, right? They're trying to go out and get as many transfers as they can, those kids that are in the portal. And then they start to slide into July, and they're starting to get their feet wet. I talked to one earlier before the game. This is his second high school event he's been to all summer.
Jeez.
So I think an event like this is huge for the players but it's also just as big for the college coaches because they're getting a chance. Sometimes this is their first time they're getting to see these guys. And then when this new rule change, especially as the future goes on, you know, they might have known some of these kids in the past, but they're might be as, you know, familiar with them moving forward. So I think this is an event like this is humongous both ways for the players, but also for the college coaches.
Well, turning over for Carolina now, Gabe Murray going to be on the mound, right-hander from Fauquier Varina High School in North Carolina. Another one of those unranked players. Brandon Hall told me he loves these kids who come in unranked and they leave as somebody who, you know, is a kind of a hidden gem. Maybe we see that from Murray here. Apparently he was dominant early in the summer in appearances here at Lakepoint Sports. In the trial, apparently he jumped out with a 6.6 60, really flashed bullpen up to 90 off the mound there. So this kid's an absolute athlete that Carolina's bringing to the mound for this inning.
Well, you see that lower slot with fastball up to 88 with that sweep and breaking ball. It's kind of similar to what we started off with Fowler with the lower slot and a, you know, sinker slider mix. So they're going to be hard to. Hopefully he fills it in there and maybe get some ground balls, even though we just gave up a double.
Brock Kettleston
maybe a triple
trucking it to third base, and he's going to be in there for a leadoff triple. That one was trouble near the wall.
Good swing. Really good swing. Stayed on that ball and smoked it.
Yeah, Kettleston, just one of the big bats for California here, comes in big-time numbers out of Valley Christian in San Jose. So he's going to be followed by Diesel Hernandez. And you think about guys that have the ability to do damage, as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, an all-league defensive end in football, just big, raw power. And he's going to be obviously looking to do some damage here against a guy who's obviously it looks like he's in attack mode here when you think about Murray on the mound.
Yeah, should be a good matchup right here. You look at the hitter, he takes up the whole batter's box. Big
Yeah.
body, big frame. Maybe try to keep him from getting those arms extended here and doing some damage. But
things getting interesting late. It's 7-5 is the Carolina lead here in the bottom of the sixth.
Like to see Murray try to run one under these hands right here with that 88-mile-an-hour fastball with a little bit of arm side run. See if he can tie big boy up.
All right, here comes the 2-1.
Breaking ball.
Doesn't get it there.
Dangerous count right here to a big, strong hitter, so maybe we can stay off the barrel. Getting out, taking out. We're taking out for a run right
That's
here.
right. I love what I got from the PBR California guys. They, in all capital letters on Hernandez, just wrote freak athlete. Ran a 6.7 at the tryouts. He's got raw power.
You know, it's neat. Like, you know, I know we got him. We're talking about a football player. You've seen a lot of these guys that are freak athletes, that are big-time football players, right? Before I head over here, I said, you know, goodbye and thanks to Landon Fowler. He had football practice tomorrow. He's running off to. So it's, you know, you got a big-time tight end right here that, you know, it's not a shock to see a bunch of athletes out here. Really good pitch.
Yeah, just sent the dribble over to short. Throws in time, made it closer than it probably could have been. But again, yep, trade the run for the out.
We'll take it, keep the lead right here. Good play, good pitch, good play.
All right, now it's turn for Gavin Flores.
Got away with a hanging breaking ball right there. We'll take the strike. Take a foul ball and a strike.
Flores primarily a right-handed pitcher from Jay Serra 2025. He's the 17th ranked right-hander in the state. Comes the 0-1. Another dribbler up the middle. .72 was the exit velo on that.
Good time for a double play ball right here for Team Carolina.
Here's Gary Morse. Saw Morse do some damage early. Morse from Orange Lutheran. Outfielder, 19th ranked outfielder in the state in the class.
There's a good pitch right there.
Scouts call him freakishly athletic.
this is something for us that I think is neat. We get to see switch it up a little bit and play some people you never play too much. And, Carolina's California matchup you don't see too often. So I think this is a neat deal for our guys.
That's a great pitch right there. Yeah, you guys ended up playing Georgia a lot in the past, and yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
0-2. That's going to continue.
Try to get him to chase a breaking ball. Good layoff. Going for an elevated heater.
Moore stays alive. Talked to Matt Payne and Brandon Hall about this, but you guys have such an interesting dynamic when it comes to building out a roster. How difficult does it make it in terms of, there's guys, I'm sure if you had a full roster of South Carolina kids, there's guys that we would be seeing here that we're not. How tough does it make it, kind of the guys who don't end up being here for your states?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of guys that deserve to be here, that could be here, that would perform at a high level. The one thing that's makes it a little easier, we're always in communication. And we run, a big event, our border battle, that's a, North Carolina versus South Carolina deal earlier, or the back end of June. So we get a chance to kind of take a look at some guys. And I think sometimes it's good, too. We get to let the North Carolina guys look at some guys that we're at South Carolina we're thinking about it, and kind of get some different sets of eyeballs on there, but and vice versa, we do the same. But it is tough because there's some guys, we get X amount of, it's not like there's we got 10 this year. We brought 10 of the 24 down here. It's not like there's a set amount, but we're going to battle and try to get as many of our good players as we can. And it's not as, it is a little difficult, but the good thing is we stay in constant communication and discussing what we want and, who this is and who do you really want, who do you really need, and it makes it a little bit easier from there. But yes, there are some really good players that do get left at home in this event. Not because they don't deserve to be here, just because of the split roster.
Probably did make it a tad bit easier, not I say easier lightly, that you weren't using any 2026s this time around too.
100%, and there were a good amount of 26s that we could have slid into the roster, but talking with a lot of coaches, we're just kind of saying, hey, we're with this new recruiting rule, we're going to let the 25s go out there and give them their time. The 26s, they'll be here next year. And last year we had, Andrew Palmer's back for us again for year 2, and he was here as a youngster and delivered a big home run. So we had some guys that probably could have performed well, but we want to give those older guys, the 25s, their time to shine. Right, heck, I mean, August 1st, right around the corner. So
that's right.
Hopefully if they weren't on some radars, they'll be able to get out there and open it up and have a busy day on August 1.
Murray's now facing C.J. Weinstein, mentioned previously, the #1 second baseman in the country in 2026 out of Huntington Beach.
Oh, that.
Oh, got him.
Big pitch right there. Change up right there. Big pitch. Big punch out.
So 2 down, 7-6 is the Carolina lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Turn it over to Christopher Romo.
Ooh.
Romo from Eleanor Roosevelt. 9th ranked third baseman in the state in 2025. They say he's got a very high baseball IQ. Team needs him here, 2 out, runner in scoring position.
Good pitch. Fastball at some run back over the middle. Kind of you're talking about earlier, this is the time where, you're getting a little nervous on the mound. You got the tying run at second base.
That's a great pitch, but
really good
puts
pitch.
it in play, make the out of the inning. All right, 7-6 is the Carolina lead here at the 2023 PBR Future Games. We'll be back with more shortly here from Emerson, Georgia. Back here at Lakepoint Sports, the 2023 PBR Future Games here in Emerson, Georgia. 7-6, is the Carolina lead as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Going to be a new pitcher now for California, Gavin Flores from JSerra 2025. See an interesting arm here. Continue, Carolina's got Connor Robertson leading things off, followed by Matt McKnight and Peter Mershon. We've spent a lot of time talking about Peter Mershon on this broadcast so far. This kid's looked really impressive at bat, running, catching. He's just been a really impressive player.
He is. He's a heck of a ball player, and I'm sure you've talked about it so far. That we talked about bloodlines earlier. Yeah. It's the amount of family members that have played college baseball is impressive. But Peter, I've talked a ton about this with coaches, with everybody. But the first time we saw him, his freshman year, he played on arguably the best team in the state of South Carolina, but also probably in the southeast of the country. I mean, they had draft picks, they had Division I players, they had Division II, and he was, as a freshman, hit in the 2-3 hole hitter, 2-3 hole for them, and performed at a high level. And mainly that year, just because he had to, was played third base every single game. Then rotating into this year, all those old guys are down, and he becomes the guy. And he has to catch every game, but he plays for top-notch travel organization, and all he does is he hits. He hits and he hits and he hits. It doesn't matter what kind of pitching he's facing.
Well, he's going to get an opportunity here against Gavin Flores. Connor Robertson's up to bat right now, though.
Good pitch.
Yes, quickly makes it 0-2.
Two good pitches, fastball and breaking ball away. Located.
This game's become a lot more interesting. Seeing California come back with 4 unanswered runs so far. We'll see if Carolina can find a response here on the top of the 7th. Their leads dwindled down to 1.
See if we can push a couple cross, get a little separation leading into the bottom last half.
Comes the 1-2 to Robertson, flicks that one foul.
Good battle right there. Great executed pitch, good battle.
Robertson's from Mooresville High School in North Carolina, third baseman, 4th ranked player in the state at that position. Not quite had the feel for that breaker.
Looks like he's trying to do a little bit too much with a 2-strike pitch, and that's good with us.
All right, so 2-2's the count to Robertson. Staying alive.
Big time environment for these guys. They turn around and look, hundreds of coaches back
Yep.
there, so it's flick it out there.
Yeah, Robertson sends that one in for a leadoff single. Nice piece of hitting there. 67.5 off the bat, huh?
Off the end on off-speed pitch out in front, but stays through it and leadoff base hit.
All right, here comes Matt McKnight. Heard Matt Payne talking about McKnight earlier. He felt he was a player that was going to really make a name for himself over these future games. He's 1 for 1 so far.
He stood out well yesterday in the workout and smoked that ball his first at bat. So I know there's been a lot of chatter on him from the college coaches back there. So
throw over to Robertson, but back safely. All right, 1-0's the count to McKnight. Flores throws that one in the dirt, or should I say carpet?
I think the turf helped us out a little bit earlier on with the ball bouncing over the outfielder's head. So we'll.
Yeah, balls do take weird bounces here. There's a 2-0, swings through that.
Yeah, you see some guys that aren't, if they're not used to playing on it, they're not used to the bounces. They run up a little bit too close and it goes over their head.
One we see a lot is that if there's any moisture and a guy tries to slide, they'll just go right over the bag.
Yes, they don't know they need to slide a little bit earlier.
Yep. All right, 2-1 to McKnight. Big swing, makes it 2-2.
Trying to do a little damage on that pitch.
Flores with the throw over to first. Comes a 2-2. Oh, right down the middle.
Really good pitch.
So 1 down as Peter Mershon comes to the plate.
See if Peter can deliver again right here.
Mershon's 1 for 2 on the day.
Couple RBIs.
Yep.
Busting his chops a little bit earlier. His brother's at Mississippi State, good athlete, good runner. I'm like, you finally faster than your brother now?
Well, Mershon definitely making his bid for the Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game. He's had a nice one so far.
Kind of solidify that thing. We can split an alley right here.
That's right. A lot of power.
You know, at times he gets a little unorthodox with the swing, but the one thing he usually does is find a way to get the barrel to the ball, which is the name of the game.
That's right.
Doing a good job there. Pitcher pitching with some tempo and some pace, stepping out.
Well, they've seen how aggressive you guys have been on the base pass.
Yeah, they're going at their pace, trying to slow us down by them speeding up. So
Yeah, something like 7 or 8 stolen bases, I think, so far.
Led to a bunch of runs so far. So see what we can do here.
All right, here comes the 0-2. Snap back throw to first. Ball's going to get away. Runners in. Tagged him in at second. We lost our view there for a second, but going to be 2 down now in the inning. So Mershon, that RBI at least taken away. See if he can do anything on his own.
We'll take a solo shot here.
That's right. All right, comes a 2-2. Flores bounces that.
Good take. See what we can do right here. Good at bat right there.
Sean draws a walk. So a 2-out walk. Now we're going to see Wilmer Martinez. Martinez in at shortstop these last few innings for Carolina.
It's one thing these guys are probably not used to too much either, kind of bouncing around and not playing certain innings and doing things. So they've, been doing a good job and good attitudes with it.
All right, the 0-1 to Martinez. Throws over to first.
I was impressed by a lot of our guys 60 times yesterday. I knew some of them can run, but they did a little bit better. So it's got some big guys that got some speed.
I feel like they've been showing it off all game long with how aggressive they've been running. Swing and a miss there makes it 0-2.
speaking of.
There we go again. Stolen base from Mershon. So right back at it. Carolina has a runner in scoring position.
Good job.
Try to keep him. Catches him looking. Gets away, and some smart base running there by Mershon that gets away from the third baseman. So there's your insurance run for Carolina. Now makes it 8-6 here in the top of the 7th inning.
Speed, using the speed, and a little baseball savvy right there. Taking a base when nobody was looking.
All right, so some smart base running by Peter Marchand, and now the Carolina lead is to 2 runs, 8-6 here in the top of the 7th, 2 down here in the inning. Wilmer Martinez up to bat, 2 strikes on him. That one makes it 2-2. Justin Sheffield on deck. Swings through for strike 3, but not before Carolina gets another run on the board. Going to go into the bottom of the 7th inning with an 8-6 lead over California. Gabe Murray going to be back on the mound here for this bottom part of the 7th inning, Sammy. What did you like about him this last half an inning, and what do you think that we're going to get out of him as he goes in there and try to close things out?
Well, he attacked. You liked how he attacked the hitters, and, you like that slot, good sinking fastball with some arm side run with the slider to bounce off that. Maybe tried to nibble a little bit more, let that ball do a little bit of work, but it's a good athletic live arm with some movement on that fastball. So it was, it wasn't only just had a little bit of movement, had a little stuff, 88, 89 miles an hour. So looking for him to go back out there and attack and fill up the zone.
Aiden Wall is back out behind the plate for Carolina here in the 6th and 7th inning. Talk about that catchers group, and we spent some time on Marchand, but the guys that you collectively brought in, tell me a little bit about this catching core.
Obviously watching Aiden back there catching, he's been in there a couple of times, and then Stowe Rogers. Stowe, he's just South Carolina kid. He doesn't stand out. He stands out big presence, but you don't really notice him much because I always joke, especially with catchers, it's like offensive linemen, right? You only notice when they do bad things, right? When you give up a sack, and Stowe just kind of goes about doing his business. He's not very flashy, but he receives well. He throws. It was a 1-9-3, 2-0 yesterday in workouts, and it's very easy for him. Swings the bat. I think all 3 of those guys are athletic. They can move around. They've shown they can play different positions. So I think that's huge for those guys. When you get that athleticism back there and be able to handle some of the stuff, some of the breaking balls, bounce around and block, it's big time for them.
And just to the ability to work with the pitchers. And because I talked earlier with Brandon and Matt about how they kind of have to quickly calm down these pitchers in a really high intense environment, but they also have to really learn these guys quickly to be able to work with them and know what they have and how well it works in a game. These catchers have a really lot that's being asked of them in this environment.
100%. It's one of those things we talked about earlier. The hitters adjusting to the pitchers. Well, as a catcher, you probably never caught some of these guys before. Maybe the bullpen leading into the game, you might have warmed them up, and you're trying to learn their stuff. You're trying to call their game. You're trying to figure out what their ball's doing, if it's running, if it's cutting, whatever it's doing. So, and then, like you said, on top of that, it's calming them down to not go out there and overthrow and do too much and fill up the zone. So a lot of those guys are some unsung heroes, especially in environments like this.
Well, there's already going to be one down as Shane Miranda flies out to start the inning. So next up for California going to be Gino Capolazzo as we see Gabe Murray continue on the mound for Carolina here in the bottom of the 7th, a 2-run Carolina lead. As he works in ball there to start things off against Capolazzo.
Good fastball there, just right off the edge.
The 1-0 a little low in the zone, makes it 2-0. Rowan Brown and Mark Emmerman to follow for California. Make it 3-0.
It's one of those, if you put on your coaching hat, you're a little upset. You get a first pitch out early, and then you get 3-0. But, trying to make some good pitches here. And
all right, well, they're going to get a 1-out walk.
Got the time to run to the plate. We'll take a double play ball and get out of here.
All right, so here's Rowan Brown. Rowan Brown, as I mentioned previously, is going to be pitching for California in Game 2. Brown from Patrick Henry High School, catcher. Saw him send one right over the shortstop's head a little earlier. He's interesting left-handed bat. Holds.
So it starts to get a little tight right here. Oh, good pitch.
Swing and a miss.
Good changeup right there. It's one of those you're talking about. The catcher makes a good call right there. Aggressive hitter. He knows the fastball's coming. He throws the changeup.
Another swing, another miss.
Good mixing. Get the hitters on their toes.
So that was the interesting combination that California had to start this game, that Bowles, their pitcher, their catcher, Miranda was his high school catcher. So at least they went into that matchup with a little bit of an edge for a guy that was throwing that many pitches.
Right. He kind of gets a little bit better feel, knows what works there. That's what we were talking about earlier with one of our guys, Vorlick, came off the mound and threw some really good breaking balls, you know, but was kind of just relying on his catcher who's never really caught him before. And we kind of told him when he came in, hey, I know we're used to just shaking our head yes to whatever the catcher puts down, but you know yourself better than he knows you. If you have a better feel of stuff, you know, shake them off. It's okay. But that's, you know, like you said, those guys not knowing each other and trying to learn as they go.
2-2 is the count to Brown. One down here in the bottom of the seventh inning. Carolina has an 8-6 lead on California.
Oh.
That one bounces away, and obviously the runner's going to be advancing to second base.
Yanked the changeup.
Runs the count full with Mark Emmerman on deck and Ezekiel Lara on the top of the order if the inning continues for California.
Good fight. Good battle.
Up to 40 pitches now for Murray. All right, it comes the 3-2. Again, it's an 8-6 Carolina lead here in the bottom of the seventh. Another swing, another foul, and the Bees going to continue. It's really making Murray work.
California's hitters doing a good job fouling off some tough pitches and keeping themselves in this at-bat.
Another 3-2. And it's going to walk him.
Well, set up a double play right here. We got a couple force outs, so need to get a good ground ball and roll it up and get out of here with a W.
Now it's Mark Emmerman's turn from Junipero Sierra Gardena High School.
Good pitch.
Watches strike one. Like the scouts say, he's a Swiss Army infielder.
Do it all.
The 0-1 misses quite a bit, glove side.
It's one of those things you like in a player. You know, you go off to college and say there's an All-American in front of you at short, and if you can't go anything else, you don't get to play. Boom.
Shoots that one into center field. Runner's going to hold, so we're going to have the bases loaded. Les Lukács maybe thought about sending him, but thought better of it there, and so we're going to have the bases loaded with one out. And Ezekiel Lara up to the plate. Lara's 1 for 3. second-ranked center fielder in the country among 2026s. Bases loaded, 1 out. Carolina up 8-6. Gonna get that.
2-0 count right here. Good hitters count.
There comes the 2-0. Murray can't get that at all. 3-0.
There we go, back in it.
All right, so he gets the strike. Knew he wasn't swinging anyway.
It's for one of those where you were talking about earlier, you need those catchers to step up and be big for them.
Comes the 3-1 from Murray. Shoots that one into right field. Can't make the catch. That one's going to bounce in front of him, so a run's going to score for California. Going to make it 8-7. And the bases are still loaded with 1 out. Turns it over to Justin Lopez. We're going to have a conference out on the mound. Brandon Hall coming out to talk to Murray. Calm him down a little bit.
Calm them down. We got to work ahead. Get the hitters on their toes. Instead of the other way.
Well, Justin Lopez, he's facing now, is already 2 for 3 in the game.
Well, I have a feeling if he can deliver a big knock, I think he'll solidify his player of the game.
Yep. A big opportunity here, though, for Murray to seal this thing up and get Carolina out of here with a win that became a lot closer than it looked like it was going to early. The bases still loaded, 1 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Justin Lopez at the plate for California.
There we go.
Started 85.9. Gets it in there for a strike.
Staying off the plate. See if we can get a ground ball. Good pitch.
Watch his strike 2. All right, comes the 0-2. See if he finishes him off. Sends that one into the outfield.
Oh, no. There
in the gap. So there's going to be 1 run. Here's going to be another on its way to home. Throw's going to be wide, and we've got a walk-off win for California here in the PBR Future Games. Justin Lopez comes through with a game winner, a 9-8 win for California here over Carolina. These kids stormed back, outscored them 7-1 over the last 4 innings. Some big-time hitting there from California down the stretch, and capped off by Justin Lopez coming through with the game winner. Lopez out of Orange Lutheran, 2026. California, the big come-from-behind win. I feel like I jinxed you guys by having all you Carolina guys on here to talk about your squad and end up watching it end in walk-off fashion.
Hey, big time at bats by California. I mean, those guys did a great job of, we know it's not, it's a showcase setting and guys are having fun, but you get down big, it's easy to kind of throw some at bats away, and their guys kept plugging along and kept fighting, and we got a little wild at times and gave up a few too many free passes, but their guys did a great job and a very competitive game. So I know our guys, they're not going to be too happy about it, but big time competition and it's big time spotlight. So I know, this will be huge for them moving forward in their development.
Well, Justin Lopez, you called it. He comes through and he's the Dick's Sporting Goods player of the game. Gets that game winner there for California in the bottom of the 7th. So we'll be able to hear from Justin here in a little bit as he's going to join us in the Lakepoint Sports studios here to talk about being named the player of the game. But while I've still got you here and we're talking about these Carolina kids, who really stood out for you today? I mean, obviously it doesn't end the way that you guys wanted it to, but just some really strong performances, though, by and large from your kids.
Yeah, I thought they played well up and down the board. I thought Landon Fowler came out of the chute, and I thought he stood out really well. Fastball up to 91. Spun a couple good breaking balls in there, a little bit of feel for a change, and you kind of see the athleticism and kind of we joked about earlier, he's heading off to the football field, tomorrow. So he kind of really showed out. I thought, obviously, we talked about Peter Marchand. He did a really good job. McKnight, he had a big hit earlier in the game. He did a really good job. I think overall, some guys, they've kind of come out here and they've put themselves out there and stood out overall. Well, we joked, in worst case scenario, at least we look good in the uniform getting off the bus. We got some big, strong, physical guys. But I think kind of those three guys really kind of stepped up on game one, and I'm sure I left a few other guys off, but they stepped up and looked good so far.
As you leave here and you go off with the rest of the guys here to talk about, the rest of this event, what do you tell the guys about building off the positives today, but kind of, things didn't obviously end the way that they wanted it to. They had it in their hands, but what's the overall message for these Carolina kids for the next couple of days?
Well, I think a big one is the relaxed atmosphere that starts to come with this event, right? You get the big workout day yesterday. Even though they all worked out, they're all of a sudden in front of all the coaches, the setup, the environment of what it is. And then you come out in game one, right, and we're facing one of the better arms, that's in this event. And we play well, and we just don't quite finish the game. But kind of as this week goes on, you kind of see these guys relax a lot more, and they get it's more baseball. Kind of like we talked about, it gets on the back end of the game. How do we get into it? It's not as much to showcase. Just kind of relaxing and playing their game. You still saw some guys in that dugout with the big wide eyes, looking around. You've seen all the coaches out there. Because I do think it's one that we touched on a little bit earlier. They haven't probably played in front of that many coaches throughout the summer with how everything is changing on the recruiting front, and then they get in the game and there's hundreds of coaches out here. So they're relaxed, just play their game, be themselves, and kind of let the game happen and let the game come to them instead of trying to. Sometimes you see some of these guys trying to really go out there and do too much and just play their game.
Yeah, and I think, too, it's been mentioned before in this broadcast, it's about the quality of the way that they played, not necessarily the results of what they played. So is it telling the kids, look, focus on the things that you did right. You were here for a reason. You had your moments, and that needs to be what you take from today, not the fact that you end up losing in a walk-off.
100%. Nobody. I would assume, I can't speak for all these kids, but I'm assuming none of them like losing. But learn and do your things and learn from what you did, right? You come out here, it's been talked about forever, especially in baseball recruiting, right? You can go out and go 0 for 3 and you think you had a terrible day, and some coach out there really liked you because how you barreled up some balls, how you hustled, how you played the game defensively. There's different ways. So take the positives, learn from it, relax, and just keep growing as a player and using these experiences, right? I doubt a lot of our guys. I know some of our guys face some good arms all summer and spring long, but that guy comes out to shoot first game with that breaking ball and that arm and the short arm action and blowing some guys away, and it's like, whoa. Use those experiences and kind of relax and control, like you said, what you can control moving forward and taking those positives and building on them.
All right, so a coach comes to you after this game and talks to you, wants to talk to you about a specific player. How do you break down what you saw in a game today? For anybody who's watching who's trying to figure out for now what the role is for the guys from a PBR and the coaches who can't get in contact with them, how are you going to break down players between these next few days?
I'll tell you, I had this conversation actually in the middle of the game about one of our guys with a coach, and they kind of see a one-stop snapshot of them. And a lot of these guys we've had a chance to watch for quite a while. So we'll kind of give a lot of the backstory to what they're seeing right now. You come out and you see any of these guys, whoever it is, if it's a couple at-bats or if it's a couple innings, is that him? Well, we can kind of maybe give a little bit more of a backstory. Hey, the beginning of his high school season, this is where he was. He's going on the right path, the right trajectory moving forward, like Landon Fowler. We saw him in the preseason tournament at high school, and he's 84-87, right? The first innings, 88-91, right? He's going in the right direction, right? Peter Marchand, where's he been? What does he play? How does he do some of these things? And I think for us, when we can help out is we can kind of give a little bit more of that backstory, of where they were, instead of who is this guy? Is this him or is there something else to him? So I think that's what I try to do. I can't speak for everybody. That's what I try to do when coaches come and ask our opinion of him. What is he? What has he done? Well, this is what he ran. This is what he's been. A year ago, this is where he was at. So I think those are some things we can do to help out some of these players.
And obviously your own background, being able to lend that, it kind of has a little bit of a different tone to it than maybe from some of the other people they're going to hear it from.
Yeah, I'd like to think that some people might think we know a little bit about what we're doing. So, we're not going to go out here and say, hey, you got to sign this guy, but we'll go, hey, I like this player. I think this guy does some really good things, and take a look at him all week. So I think that's important. And like I said, I think the biggest part for us is we get to see a lot of these guys, not only high school season, but our showcase ball. And a lot of these guys for a year. Justin Sheffield, heck, I feel like he's come to like a ton of scout days and events, and we've seen him forever. And 2 years ago, he's running a 7.3. He's been up to a 7.0. He ran a 7.1 here. So, things like that, we can go, hey, this guy's getting better. It's not one of those, well, he was 90 a year ago and he's still 90. He hasn't gotten any better. A lot of our guys are going in the right direction. So I think that's a big part we can play to help these guys out in their future.
So as Carolina takes the field tomorrow for game 2, tell me a little bit about who's going to be pitching tomorrow.
I'm glad you asked that. I got to go to my notes while we're in there. But, I know we got Robert Lou Jack Cole. It's kind of funny. I was busting his chops earlier. Robert's his real name. Lou Jack's kind of his nickname going in there that he's always called. So he's got a couple of things in our system. We got to clean him up. But Robert's going to go on the mound. And we're going to try to get 3 innings out of him. It's an 87, 89, 90 mile an hour arm. But, now that we have all this data, it's kind of funny. 5, 6, 7 years ago, you just say he's got an invisible fastball, right? It's hard. It's got good stuff, but it's a low release height with big time extension out there, and it has a tendency, knock on some wood, we hope he does it tomorrow, he'll get a chance to throw some fastballs by some guy with a kind of a shorter slider, kind of cutterist breaking ball. So he's got a good feeling. It's another guy, right? He came to our top prospects game almost about a year to this date last year, and it's 84-85, and he was at the border battle about a few weeks ago, and he's 88-90. So it's another young man that's kind of making those jumps. And we've seen him a little bit in high school. He's a little bit better than that, so we're expecting some big things about him on the mound. And then we'll go follow him up with a couple North Carolina guys, Michael Simpson and Jake. I'm probably going to butcher his last name, so I'm not going to say that one. But, so some athletic arms that are going to be able to come out and be able to spin the ball and do some different things. So we're looking forward to seeing those guys kind of pitch in this environment.
Talked about the release point. How big is he?
He's a 6'1", 6 foot, but it's a low release height. So, and it holds its plane. Like you watch his spin, we get in a lot of this analytics. The spin's not off the charts, right? It's probably about an average spin, but it's low and it holds its line. So, where most hitters think the ball is going to drop on them coming in there, it holds its line a lot more. So it has a tendency to miss above the barrel quite a bit.
Well, Sammy, I mean, obviously you guys had your moments today. Things do not end up in a victory for Carolina, but I thought a strong showing from the kid. I think you guys at least have to take pride in the fact that we put a team out there that was in position to win. These kids, had their moments, and the guys that we, brought here to show out at least had some times when they were doing that today in the field.
No doubt. When we bring these teams down here, when we bring these players down here, we want to be able to make sure we put them out there in great situations for them to show their stuff. And I think some guys really showed out and showed they belong, and more so than belong here. And I think, some people might open up a lot of eyes with some college coaches back there today. So.
Well, fantastic. Sam, listen, I appreciate you joining us, stopping by on the broadcast. Again, California comes through with a walk-off win. We'll be joined shortly back here at Lakepoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia, with our Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game. We'll be back with more action here from Lakepoint Sports.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
Next. Next. Stop.
You got it?
No. Keep going.
Again.
Next. Next.
If you don't pick one.
Oh, you have time. Am I keeping you from your job? Next. I don't even know where I am anymore. Stop.
Do we finally have it?
Let's go back to the beginning.
Are you
Your
joking?
electric future customized. The fully electric Audi Q4 e-tron.
Making every second count. That is how I live. And this is how I hydrate. Body Armor Sport Water. Water for the athlete in all of us.
This is ready to go online. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. How about the best network imaginable? Let's invent that.
That's what we do here.
Quick survey. Who wants their internet to work pretty much everywhere?
And it needs to run smooth, like super smooth.
Hey, should you be drinking that?
It's decaf. Because we're busy women.
We don't have time for lag or buffering. Who doesn't want internet that helps AI do your homework even faster?
Come again?
Sorry, what was that?
Introducing the next generation 10G network, only from Xfinity. The future starts now.
The Windscreen Factory, more than just windscreen. We're a full-service sports facility contractor. We manufacture windscreen for sports and construction, do fence repair and installation, and fabricate field netting and batting cages. In addition to manufacturing the products, we also install upon request. We make safety padding for backstops, rails, and walls, as well as full-service print shop with logo, branding, and signage capabilities. Please call us for a quote today.
Back here at Lakepoint Sports, just watched California come through 9-8 winners over Carolina, thanks to an RBI game-winning double from Justin Lopez out of Orange Lutheran. The 2026 second baseman was named the Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game. Goes 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, 2 doubles in all, including the game winner, as I mentioned, in the 7th inning. Just a great comeback win from California here. They were down 7-2, but have 3 runs in the 4th inning, including an RBI single from Lopez along the way, and then 3 in the 7th inning, capped by his game winner. So certainly a big win for comeback fashion there from California. Look to be joined by Justin Lopez, again, the Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game out of Orange Lutheran. He's the second-ranked second baseman in the state in 2026, number 43 player overall. So we'll be back with more here from Lakepoint Sports in Emerson, Georgia, and be joined by Justin Lopez, who was named the Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game in California's come-from-behind win. Be back with more here from Lakepoint Sports.
can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground then I go off. Yeah, hit the ground then I go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground then I go off. Yeah, hit the ground then I go off. Yeah, run it. Oh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah.
Appreciate everyone joining us here at Lakepoint Sports for our 2023 PBR Future Games Game of the Day. Again, California, a 9-8 winner over Carolina in walk-off fashion. Justin Lopez coming through with a game-winning double on his way to being named Dick's Sporting Goods Player of the Game. Our 2023 Future Games Game of the Game coverage continues. Fridays we'll have Arizona and Nevada at 4:30, followed by Pennsylvania and Ohio on Saturday at 2. You'll be able to find those on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Until then, I'm Corey McCartney, and we'll see you at the Diamond.